put the children to bed, it's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
That's fake news, Dan, and you know it, I know it, everyone knows it, including you.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God. I'm crying.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
I'm not getting any pussy tonight. That's why I'm here.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
I can't hear you, Aldo.
Dan, that's because I wasn't talking.
Okay.
Dan Agar, how are you, my friend?
Things have been better. I'm just glad that things have gotten worse in my personal life throughout the weeks that made the field goal seem a little bit more tolerable. If that's plausible.
I was telling Dan that he probably has Matt Eberflus as his guardian angel because shit keeps going wrong for my man Dan.
Oh, my God. So Monday, after the game, I tried to sat for 3 hours on Sunday after the game in dark, silence. Like, where do I go from here? Enjoy your night off. No, I'm just sitting there wallowing in self-pity. And then, so I watched a movie with my wife and ate popcorn, and then I had a piece of fucking shit stuck in my tooth. So I'm like, well, you can't do that. You got to clean your tooth out. Get the toothpick, and there my composite tooth filling, boom, knocked it out. So I had to go to the dentist. And then I found out all my insurance is going to pay for all of this almost. I only paid $25. Okay, great, good stuff. And then I get home, find out my job here really doesn't want me because the other job was making me go to 12 hours. And then here they're like, nah, we're just going to reduce your schedule and basically phase you out. And then I get home and the wind, we had like 50 mile per hour winds, and it blew down my privacy fence, at least a big portion of it.
Yeah, you sent me a picture of it. It's like a 6 foot wide section of the fence, right? Maybe more?
Something like that, yeah. And like I said, what's even worse is the fence is 8 feet tall all around. But if you go to buy it, like at the Home Depot or Lowe's now, they only sell them in 6 feet tall. So it's going to be shorter.
Oh, shit.
But it's like at this point, I don't even care what it looks like. I just want to keep the dope fiends and the whores and the wild animals out of the yard, you know?
Yeah, well, hopefully Santos can hit a field goal over it.
I think maybe if Santos would have just got on the other hash mark and made the field goal, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
It like a chain of events. It went to an alternate timeline. It's
Absolutely.
a sci-fi movie.
That's exactly what happened. I'm absolutely positive of that. Alfred asks, hi, Dan and Aldo. Do you think the Bears haven't fired their coach is because the coach give the okay to hire polls? Because I don't understand how a coach can have historically bad coaching games. I think I understand what Alfred is trying to say here. I think that it's Virginia McCaskey saying, please don't fire that nice young fella. Please. We've never done it before. Why are we going to start with that nice fella with his 2 beautiful daughters and beautiful wife? I think that's what's going on. It's a McCaskey tradition, and they'll stick through it to the end of the season. Now, if they continue to get embarrassed and people stop showing up for games and they see paraphernalia sales going down, then, they might do something in season to spike sales. And, it's all about money, right, Dan?
That's true, but I think that's one of the things. The McCaskies take a lot of shit from a lot of people, and I'm not saying it isn't warranted in some instances.
Sure.
But, some people are blaming like the loss on Sunday on George McCaskey. I mean, come on. I thought that was a little bit over the top.
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the things that George likes to say. I'm completely just talking out of my ass here. But I think if you're going to be the next coaching candidate, I'm saying, Mr. Gandia, we got your back. You won't be fired in season. You'll have immense opportunities to succeed here. We will be behind you all the way until it becomes untenable. Right? Is that fair?
I think it's fair for the first couple of years. I think in a year like this one where expectations were so high, and then you end up having to fire your second offensive coordinator 9-10 games into the season, all bets are off. You are now proving that you are not a good judge of talent when it comes to assembling a coaching staff, particularly on the offensive side. And then when you make those late in-game coaching decisions that are taking away victories, it to me that's it. George McCaskey, when Nagy was fired, what did he say? He said, "I saw the same mistakes at the end of the season that I saw at the beginning of the season." And
he said Mom was pissed off.
Mom's pissed off. Now they got to wake up, Mom, and ask her, "Are you pissed off? Is it all right we let this guy go?" And I don't mean to make fun of Virginia McCaskey. Yes, I do. I do make, but it's still with a lot of love. I appreciate everything that she's gone through to continue ownership of the organization. But hey, it's time. It's time not only for a new coach, but probably for a new set of ownership. And I think that's what they should be telling Kevin Warren. Forget the new stadium. Find an owner. Find a buyer for this thing, because they clearly don't know how to run an NFL organization. Heidi says hi, by the way.
Hello, Heidi. The most Chicago Bears thing that I could see, if we're talking about just one small incident, is you trade away Khalil Herbert for virtually nothing. Mm-hmm. And then DeAndre Swift has a groin and is on the fight, not practicing on Wednesday. And it's just like, oh, okay. So if he's out,
exactly.
If he's out, it's Roshan and the guy that used to be in Seattle a few years ago,
Travis Homer. Yeah. I knew it was going to happen. A lot of us knew that trading Khalil Herbert was going to be a mistake. And if he doesn't play Sunday, then you got to start, and it leads to a poor rushing game by the Bears. You got to start now wondering if Poles shouldn't be replaced, because he's part of these decisions that are backfiring on the team. You don't trade away Khalil Herbert for a 7th round draft pick. If anything, you just have him stay with the roster for the rest of the season. Tell him, listen, I'd love to help you out like I did Justin, but I can't do it. It's not good for the team. And I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Hopefully Swift will be back, but it's supposed to be cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not good for the groin, the balls, the whole area there. You start to run and then it gets a little bit tight, because of that cold weather. So we're going to see a lot of Roshan, it looks like, on Sunday, I would think.
I would think too. But Bellissimo says, I know we aren't great right now, but I just found the highlight video of the 63 championship season. Names I've never been able to see, but no, until now, I feel less depressed. Dan, don't you do that on occasion? You go back to, you put on one of your 300, 400 DVDs and watch a game that brings you happiness?
Yes. Usually that's in the off season, but yeah, definitely. I don't have any from 63. And speaking of 63, this has been so bad, I haven't even listened to Ed or Dan recently.
Oh, my goodness. I haven't either.
I can't do it.
Slick Sophistication, I will ask him, and Bellissimo is giving you a scouting report right now as we speak. Dan, you told me via text, I believe it was, that immediately after the missed blocked field goal, you kind of
sat there.
He
I
just
sat there.
for how long?
Yeah, Nikki's mom called her and said, "We need you to come out to the mall and do this, and we'll go out to dinner." And I was like, "There's no fucking way. I can't go anywhere."
Yeah.
I just sat there alone, cold, and scared by myself. I didn't even get up to turn the heat on. I just sat there staring at the blank TV. I turned it off. I didn't want to see another team play. I didn't want to see Jim Harbaugh or somebody of the Chargers thinking, "Oh, that could have been our coach." No, I didn't want to see it.
How disappointed were you that the Bears did not hire Jim Harbaugh? And how disappointed are you now that Jim Harbaugh is being named as a candidate for Coach of the Year?
I mean, I always support the team. Like, so when they were like, "All right, we're going to stay with Flus," I don't like it. But, in the back of my head, of course, is like, should have hired Harbaugh. And now you're like, I'm going to be thinking, you should have hired John Gruden. You should have hired Bill Belichick. I know your people are going to say, that guy's 70 or whatever. But I think that's what we need, like some voice of authority as the coach, and not a coach that people look at as a complete fucking buffoon. Like, this guy's going to call something wrong here and give up the Hail Mary. We don't want to play for the positioning. Does Cairo kick on this hash mark? Well, fuck that. We'll never consider that.
Yeah, that's the clown show at a Hallis Hall. I put this video up on Twitter. This is Eberflus talk. It was asked, if you had to do it over, would you put it on the right hash mark where Cairo likes it?
Yeah, just a little bit of a groin strain.
That's wrong.
Was there any thought of moving the ball to the right hash, considering that's where Cairo likes to kick his extra point?
Yeah, there was not. There was not. We feel good with our decision there.
Isn't there?
It's a fucking clown show.
Why wouldn't there be?
I don't get it.
I defended him in theory about the last play thing. Because you think the first two plays of that drive, what were they? Sacks. How many times throughout this season have we seen false start, illegal motion, the tackles uncovered, all these pre-snap penalties? So I get it. Okay, we're at the 40, this is a 46-yarder. He should be able to nail this. Like, I supported him in that. Like, would I have called another play even just to sneak to line it up on the hash? Yeah, I think so. But I thought, all right, he doesn't want to risk a fumble, a bad snap, a penalty, something crazy. Cairo's already hit a 53, right? Early in the game. Right. He should be able to make this. So I wanted to support Eberflus in that aspect. But, dude, you got to know which side the fucking hash mark that your kicker likes. Yep. Matt Nagy did this same thing against the Chargers in 2019, and guess what? Eddie Pinheiro missed.
I knew you would remember that. I knew you would.
Oh, that's the same game where he lost me forever because they're booed out of the building in the first half. They come out in the second half, and they get in an I formation, and they start running the ball, and they're successful and should have won the game. And then afterwards, he said, "I wasn't brought here to run the I formation."
You fucking asshole. That is one of the top 10 quotes of a Chicago Bears, quotes that you hate kind of thing. Well, we got to find the other 9 and do a show on that. Sean Higgs of Weekend Sports Betting Tips is here to rub it in. He said that he was betting a lot of money on the Bears with the under in their wins, and it looks like Sean might be winning some money. Get more of his advice Fridays at 6 p.m. Central. Weekend Sports Betting Tips, him and Tooch, and I always forget the third guy on the show who's absolutely fantastic as well, and I forget his name because I'm terrible with names, and I can blame it on my aneurysm or my TEI or whatever the fuck I had, which I can't remember, but I will always remember that Matt Eberflus is a fucking moron. You know what else happened at Hallis Hall today? He was being asked questions, and people were literally falling asleep.
Again, I think you have to adjust and change every week, offensively. Now, your concepts don't change. The core runs that you have, and again, you'll sprinkle in some things that are new in terms of that. But the concepts are going to be the same.
Was supposed to be Caleb?
I think that was Nicholas Musaraka of CHGO.
Oh, that's the guy that asked the question about the hash mark.
Yeah, right. And then he went to sleep on the podium. So it's a mess over at Hallis Hall, and the reporters are starting to turn on Eberflus. He is just proving to be dead man walking, and it really would be nice of Ryan Post to, get that guy out of his misery, fire him. He's however many years he's got left, he'll get that money. He'll still live in that country club home. He will be fine. He will get another job as a DC in the NFL, but it's really destroying team morale, fan morale. Hallis Hall right now is not the place you want. I mean, it really is a clown show. This is Flus talking about how he's going to help the Vikings against the Blitz.
Caleb.
Excuse me, help Caleb against the Vikings Blitz.
Caleb, for all he's going to see at the line of scrimmage, both before the snap and once it's in.
Yeah, just defining it and keeping it, really tight. Not too many things, but things that are effective.
Every time the guy opens his mouth, it's just a fucking joke. Somebody on Twitter today saying I am muting the Bears Twitter account. I don't want to hear anything until Eberflus is fired. That's the mood that's spreading like wildfire throughout Chicago. You feel the same way, Dan?
I guess so. I honestly feel like it's such a missed opportunity. If he'd have come out after the game, follow me on this hypothetical.
Sure.
Eberflus comes to the mic, and they start asking him the questions he's going to be asked about, the hash mark, the block, the Packers saying that they knew that they had something. Why didn't you run another play? If he'd have come out and said, guys, this organization has been losing to Green Bay over and over and over, and I'm a part of that, and I wanted to win. And our kicker can make it from 46 yards. I believed in him, and I wanted to win the goddamn game. So that's why I kicked the ball, because I thought we would win. And I'm sick that we didn't. And I think if he'd have said anything that had passion with it, I think someone would be like, yeah, we want to win too. Like, yeah, we get it. We feel him. But he gives us this response like he's on life support. Yeah. And it's the public relations like nonsense, double speak. It's just like it's like a PR firm is constantly typing his response.
Right. Yeah, that's part of the problem with him as a leader. He, doesn't display any emotion. He should have been pissed off. We appreciate coaches who go in there and say, I'm pissed that we lost this game. I'm accountable. I should have made some better decisions late in the game. The players fought their heart out. I feel even worse for them. That would have made him a little bit more endearing to Bears fans. But he, I actually did a video where I found a clip of him walking up to the podium. It looked like he was in his head, and he was so depressed and down that he just didn't know the right things to say. Sometimes great football minds are not ready to be the leaders in an organization.
Then he should say that. He should say, guys, I'm up here. I don't want to steal this from Marshawn Lynch and say I'm going to get fined, so that's why I'm here. Yeah. But I'm trying to do my job right now, and that's why I'm here. However, that loss is still bothering me. Like, I don't really know what to say right now. I'm very, very upset. Like, we put so much time, so much effort, whether it's successful or not, we're trying. We're really trying. We're busting our asses 16, 18-hour days to get this right. And, so it's been 10 minutes after the game, and I'm fucking down. I don't know what to say to you right now. I just know that it hurts.
It sure does hurt. And so a lot of speculation as to who's going to succeed Eberflus in 2025. Then a name that comes up every now and then is Bill Belichick, like Stephen Mee has brought up. Do you think, I don't think Belichick is going to come to work in Chicago because the McCaskies won't want him, and I don't know if he wants to work for this organization. He's been so critical of them. But do you think that it's time for them to change the modus operandi of hiring coaches? It seems like the last 4 head coaches, maybe even
just
5.
John Fox is the only one that had experience elsewhere.
Yeah, but they seem kind of white toast to me.
Yeah, I agree. But let me just say this about Belichick. The one thing that Bill Belichick is all about is history. Yeah. There's been rumors for him going to Dallas as well. But the point is, Bill is going to want to go to a team that has a lot of history, like the Giants or the Bears, or I mean, he's not going to the Steelers because Mike Tomlin's not going to get fired. But he likes organizations that have that lineage.
But right
he's
now,
not going to Carolina. You know, he's going
to Jacksonville. He's interested in.
I don't think so. All he talks about in his personal life seemingly is NFL history. This is the team with NFL history more so than anybody. That's all we live off of as a marketing scheme for the Bears, because that's all the success we've had. Think about this: how old's your daughter? Not to put you on the spot.
She is 29.
Okay, so in her adult life, the Bears have her whole life. The Bears have made the playoffs like 3 times, and they went to the Super Bowl when she was fucking 6, or whatever. So it's just like, God, like if you were born, in the 90s or 2000s, like you've never seen this team win ever.
That's true. It's true. It's awful. I think that they need to bring in. Well, let me go here. What about the whole idea of a Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator? He showed life in the booth after they scored touchdown. His press conference last week was very impressive. He said all the right things. Now, if he shows improvement in the offense and Caleb starts to grow under his coaching and under his tutelage, would you then consider bringing in Thomas Brown? He could be the next Zach, whatever.
I think that's up to the coach. I think you don't want to throw that on him unless he's so successful that, you're like, man, but he's got 6 or 7 straight games of this. And you're like, okay, but I think if you want to bring in someone like Bill Belichick or John Gruden, whomever, who's done it before, you want them to pick their guy.
Yeah, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is maybe Brown could be the head coach of this team, and maybe
you mean the head coach? I think you meant to be the OC. The head coach, if he'd have to really impress us the rest of the way. And I would say to him, you don't want to pick your successor. That's exactly what Lovey was afraid of and forced Ron Rivera out,
Yeah.
But if you're going to hire a young guy like that, then you got to have somebody on the staff. That's the problem we have right now. If you did fire Flus, who's going to take over? So you want a veteran presence in there, whether you bring back Ron Rivera to do the DC job, something that if we need to go to the parachute, we've got a guy to take over.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, that I forgot what I was.
Oh, you're talking about hiring the young guy as a coach, right?
Yeah, I think that it's going to take something daring by the Chicago Bears organization. And if Brown does show that he can improve this offense and that Caleb and him get along, and Caleb starts looking like the number 1 overall draft pick, he starts surpassing the play of the other first-round quarterbacks like Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. He starts surpassing them under the tutelage of Brown. I think you really need to seriously consider giving the job to Brown. Yeah, he's got no head coaching experience, but who cares? The guy from the Rams didn't have head coaching experience either. So it's time to make a bold move or go to an old veteran coach and bring them in. Or Cliff Kingsbury is said to be not interested in the Bears job because he didn't like the way he was treated when he interviewed for the OC.
Money talks.
That is true. So, but I don't see Belichick coming to the Chicago Bears, even though he likes the history. I don't know. I don't see that marriage there. I think there'd be too many egos with Warren, Poles. I mean, you'd have to fire Poles in order for Belichick to come. And maybe Warren is that gunslinger who would do something like that, but I don't think he will. I don't think so, but we'll see.
Well, the one thing that Bill said that is so I'm just doing a complete, not a direct quote, but he's like, they're doing it the wrong way. You've got to build with the offensive line. He has said that throughout the season, why are they drafting a doomsday there? You have to. So a lot of the stuff he said has come back to really resonate as being truthful. Of course, those are paraphrases.
Right.
But, yeah, I think you want a guy that could command the team like that, in my opinion.
And the idea of Gruden is definitely out because of his problems with the NFL, right?
I mean, at some point, I mean, Michael Vick got another chance, and he was fighting dogs for fuck's sake. But he did go to jail and served his time. But I mean, at some point, we're not talking about bringing Ray Caruth in. Like the guy that allegedly killed his pregnant girlfriend. Ray Lewis. Remember, Ray Lewis allegedly was involved in a murder.
He's going to be the head coach of some university. The rumor is that's happening right now.
Where's the bloody suit, Ray? We forgot about all of that with Ray Lewis. So why can't John Gruden get another chance? Because when you listen to the guy talk, he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
I didn't read closely what was in those emails that were divulged, that were revealed to the media, but I do think that he made some really harsh racist statements.
I can't disagree with you.
And so I wonder if an African-American, a black football player would want to play for a guy who is saying that the head of the players union has lips the size of blah, blah, blah. And so, that to me, is probably you just got to move on, because I think there'd be a lot of players who wouldn't respect John Gruden, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Slick forgives John Gruden. Slick sophistication. I think he's a black gentleman. Slick, do you want to divulge the color of your pigmentation, so to speak? I don't know. I think. Are you there?
That's certainly a good point when most of the players on the team are going to be black, whether we want to say that aloud or not. So that is got to be a top consideration, how that this would make that portion of the team feel. Mm-hmm. But from all accounts, alleged accounts rather, when he was with Oakland, that the team kind of was behind him. Yeah. That it was a PR thing that just kept gaining weight, and they just had to move on from him. But it's not like the team thought, oh, he's a racist.
I would have a hard time working for someone who I know was saying, all those are Puerto Rican spick, blah, blah, blah. I
concur.
I would have a hard time with that. I would have to sit down with the guy and he'd have to win me over. I worked with and for some assholes in the past, and have actually said, I can't work with this guy because he, I could tell the guy was a bigot, and, working alongside someone like that or for someone like that is a real ball buster, man. It can really kill your will to live if you allow that to persist. But I don't know.
But the one thing I just want to say, though, what you're saying is true. Okay. There's so much weight behind that I want to acknowledge that properly. I don't want to just dismiss what you said.
Sure. I understand.
However, I just want to say that we're talking about a comment that was said to have been made in 2010. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that makes it any less shitty, but should everyone just be convicted for the rest of their life over things that they've done? And we've all done shitty things, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we've done anything that terrible, right, as to make ethnic slurs, and I don't want to defend them. But I'm just saying, again, Ray Lewis is accused of being involved in a murder, and his bloody suit allegedly disappeared. The Ray Caruth, like I said, we allegedly killed his pregnant girlfriend. Remember Sam Snead or Sam, what was his name with the Bears, or the former Cowboy that was dealing cocaine? What was his name?
Jeez, I just brought up his name the other
Snead.
day.
What's his fucking name?
Nothing like Snead. Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. I'm saying there've been out things that people have done terrible things, and whether it was in baseball with Pete Rose, he goes to his grave now because of, he bet on his team in 1988. I mean, so I'm just saying, a lot of things, just people have to dive with them, and maybe America's supposed to be the land of second chances.
Yeah. Sam Hurd.
Yeah.
Karl Marx. Slick says, everyone deserves a second chance. So he agrees with you. Because of his faith, I would forgive. He would have to donate and make awareness to those situations. Yeah, there are ways to make reparations, for lack of a better word, or, just go out there and admit you made a mistake and do some good for the community. And perhaps that is the answer. But the other thing about Gruden is he really that good of a coach? Yes, he commands a room. Yes, he's had success in the past, but he had success with somebody else's players. He really never won another championship.
But he was really good with Oakland the first time too. I mean, let's not look over that. They got cheated in that snow game in New England. It could have easily been them going to Super Bowl 36. Brady fumbled. They lost the AFC Championship in 2000 to Baltimore. In 99, they knocked Kansas City out of the playoffs in Week 17 at Arrowhead, and they were expected to lose by 30. So he was building the team up, but he got in an argument with Al or whatever, and he got traded. And Tony Dungy lost 41-0 with that team at the last time he coached them, and then Gruden won the Super Bowl with them. So I'm just saying, Gruden. I think Gruden is a good coach, and he certainly knows his shit. Now, to me, he is a good candidate because he's a guy that's expected to not get a second chance, so he's going to be immensely appreciative. He's going to bust his ass for your organization because no one else wants to give me another shot. And the goddamn McCaskies did, and I want to win a Super Bowl for them.
I'll tell you what, though. I'm starting to ease up on that a little bit. If the community says it's fine, if he shows true remorse, and he says the right things during the job interview, and then also the biggest part of it, really, outside of the social stuff, is who is he bringing in as the offensive coordinator? Who is he bringing in as the defensive coordinator? Does he still have good relationships with some of the top coaches? Because that's the key. He's going to go in there and be the leader at Hallis Hall. But the leader of the offense and the leader of the defense, those are vital jobs. And the last 2, 3, 4, whatever many offensive coordinators we've had have been bozos, and we can't afford for him.
What if I said Jay Gruden? What if he brought in Jay?
I'd have a problem with that.
Well, I mean, he had success before.
Relismo says, I hate conversations like this. Same old coach who had success 20 years ago, hasn't done shit since. But hey, lightning might strike twice, and he sounds good to me on the mic. Yeah, I see your argument there, Barlissimo. It's like you want a more contemporary coach who his best years are ahead of him.
Yeah, but how many times have we hired the up-and-coming coach? Oh, this Mark Trestman, he's going to be so fucking good. He's so smart. Oh, well, what about this upstart Matt Nagy? Andy Reid says he's so qualified. Well, no one's ever heard of Matt Eberflus, but he's your next coach. What about Dick Ron? He's got a great cock and he's a nice guy. I mean, we keep hiring these guys like that it's their first opportunity other than John Fox. Maybe we need that guy is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, and John Fox was a mistake from the get-go. I smelled that. I said, this is a parachute. This guy just got fired, and you're going to rush to hire him? What the fuck has he done? Yeah, he took the Panthers to the Super Bowl, but they didn't win. There's a lot of teams that go to the Super Bowl.
And he was with the Giants as the DC in the Super Bowl, too, but they didn't win.
Right.
But they didn't win.
Stephen Me says, racist president, racist coach. What the fuck's going on with America? Yeah, Stephen Me, there's going to be a hit out for you. There's going to be a bunch of MAGA hitmen looking for you in England, wherever it is you live. We're not talking politics, though.
That'll get us even more and more depressed.
That's right. What about bringing Dave Ronstadt up?
I love Dave Wannstedt. At the time, he was the top coach. Remember, the Giants wanted to hire him too, and he chose the Bears. I mean, he was Jimmy Johnson's DC. They had just won this Super Bowl, and he was the guy everybody wanted, man. And I thought, like we always said, Dave Wannstedt, when he was here, even if they were 4-12, the team fought hard for him. They always played hard. And we saw in Arizona 2-3 weeks ago, the team didn't play hard at all for Flus.
They did not. Now, by the way, this is interesting. Vrabel, the coach of Tennessee, played with New England. He's a very powerful presence, had some success with Tennessee. And then Dable, who is on his way out with the New York Giants, but had success as an offensive coordinator with the Ravens and turning Lamar Jackson into a really good quarterback. And,
I like Saleh, too.
And Saleh, the defensive genius who failed with the Jets only because he was stupid enough to say yes to Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
they're like 1-6 without him, so it's not like that they're like, oh, see, Robert Saleh was the problem here.
What happened last Sunday? I did not, because I was so invested in the Bears, and then after that, I kind of tuned out NFL football.
I have no fucking idea. I know Kansas City lost. Thank God for that.
Yeah, I did see a little bit
Keep
of that.
losing. Hope they never win another game. It's like the Bears will never beat Green Bay again. Hope Kansas City's like, oh my God, they've lost 29 straight games.
They might, things are falling apart a little bit in Kansas City. They were never that strong to begin with. They were kind of eking out a lot of victories, but now that they've lost their first game, things might start tumbling down for them. But we'll see. Let's not count out Mahomes and Reed.
I'm not, especially when they get help. But
here's a name that I think you'll like. Excuse me, Dave Taub.
I mean, everyone brought up Dave Taub because, I know Devin Hester flourished when he was here, and I get it, but I know Mike Ditka was a special teams coach. I get it. I don't know. For some reason, that doesn't excite me, but maybe I'm the asshole who can't see the forest for the trees, dude.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Tom Pelissero wrote for NFL.com 22 candidates he sees, 22 coaches that he sees as possible candidates for head coaching jobs, because there could be as many, anywhere from 6 to 7 to 8 jobs open. And Taub's name was not on there. It was interesting. And Taub himself told Greg Gabriel, I think Greg mentioned this on Monday's show, that Taub told him, I think my time is gone. The phone's not ringing for interviews anymore. It's just not going to happen for me, which is too bad, because there was that hot period where everybody was saying he should be considered. He did go on some interviews, but it doesn't appear like he's ever going to get his chance. Greg thinks he would be a great head coach just because of the way he delegates duties and stuff. Oh my God, look who's here. Dan Aguirre, Robert Trader, and I used to do a Packers podcast back in the days of the NFC North Barroom. I would drive up to Wisconsin, set up my equipment, and we do a show at Wisconsin bars. And man, driving back home, I should have Ubered back then. But anyways, Robert writes me a love letter here. It says, the Bears need new leadership from the head coaching perspective. The head coach routinely makes game management mistakes when the game is close and late. Regardless of play calling, he always has the final say in any game-changing situation because he is on the headset with his underlings. Eberflus is costing a talented roster wins. The Packers made plenty of mistakes, and the Bears should have won that game. Why wouldn't you make a 46-yard winning field goal at the end of the game? My God, Robert, you just should have said, fuck you, Bears.
It's something I forgot to say earlier.
Uh-huh.
A couple of things that we should say, and again, I don't want to be like the guy that's like, oh, I'm always making excuses. But as we know, the Bears sent the tape to the league, and a couple of things that I think should be acknowledged. It said that the Packers hit the long snapper when his head was down, which is illegal, and it should have been constituted a 5-yard penalty. They used leverage that was called on the Bears against the Cardinals, not called against Green Bay. And lastly, that catch on the drive that Green Bay scored on deep down the field to Dobbs appeared to be incomplete.
Oh, was it Dobbs or Watson?
Oh, either one. Who gives a fuck? Either way, it appeared to be. That was like the only thing I could say that constitutes giving them that is to say the call on the field was already a catch.
Yeah.
But it appeared to be incomplete to me, but maybe I'm just too biased.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You're talking about when Watson went and dove and the ball, when it went down, it looks like it bounces, but it also looks like his hand is underneath it. Is that the one you're talking about?
And then he gets up and runs more.
Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
that was incomplete. I legitimately thought. I didn't think that they would overturn it, but I was like, oh shit, that hit the. I thought no catch on that. I truly did.
At first, when I saw it the first 2 or 3 times, because they replayed it about a dozen times, the first 2, 3, 4 times, I thought that's a catch. And then the more I saw it, I said, wait a minute. But the call on the field was that it was a catch. I don't think there was enough evidence there to overturn it. If
that's what the league said, that I could buy that. If they said, the call on the field, there's not enough to overturn it. but they never used that as the standard anymore. And they brought back instant replay in 99. That was something that was said all the time. Like, there's not enough evidence to overturn it. That's never what they say now. And they overturn it whenever the fuck they want to overturn. Think of the Zach Miller play in New Orleans when he broke his leg. And that was obviously a touchdown. And the call on the field was touchdown. And then they're like, there's no catch. There's no reason to say no catch, but we just want to.
Yeah. Donald says that there are pictures on X that clearly show it is not a catch. And Robert Trader says, we're just being Bears fans. We're biased. That was a catch to him. And I'm sure to every one of the other Packer fans who are watching the game. He says an argument for the penalty on the field goal, though, can be made. Yeah, there was supposed to be some word from the NFL this afternoon. I haven't seen anything yet because they submitted the tape to the NFL, Eberflus, just to get, their ruling on it. Not that it's going to change the score at all.
These Packers, they keep getting these calls. Come on.
Go ahead. Tell Robert Trader how lucky he is to be a Green Bay Packer fan because the officials are officially working with Green Bay. Go ahead. Tell him.
I don't know if that's the case, but if we sat down and extrapolated this shit out from, say, the Bill Clinton's first administration until now, or phrase it as Brett Favre until now, the calls are like 2,000 to 3 on Green Bay versus the Bears. Anytime there's a controversy. Remember the one that was the most, you remember that kick return that we were wearing orange in 2011, and the Bears did this fake where they acted like someone was going to return a punt, and then Hester took it back, and for no reason at all, they threw a flag on that. Again, it's just like no one at the NFL and Fox are like, well, we don't see what the penalty is. Yeah. But those are the kind of things that always happen against Green Bay.
Yeah. That was Nathan Vasher was a part of
the
that
interceptor,
play, right?
Nate Vasher.
Yeah. That's another topic too. Top 10 plays that are just ball busters, Bears versus Packers. I'm going to work on that, because I think that would be at this point, we have to laugh at the losses. We have to, turn it. We have to, Dan, or I'm going to fucking die. I am
going to die.
Losing my hair, man.
I am going to die. It's like I said, it's the Bears are like what gets me through like the shitty times I'm going through. And then that's even worse for them. So
so true.
I am gonna die. I'm at this point. I was feeling sorry for myself on Sunday. I don't know who I said this to. I think Ron. Poor Ron's been at all these games, man. He went to the New England, Arizona. He said he's going to sell his tickets the rest of the year. Not going to one more game the rest of the year. But I said to him, I don't think we'll ever beat the Packers again until I die. I don't think we'll ever beat Green Bay again. Just beating them one time. The idea of beating them one time, my heart was beating out my chest like I was getting my fucking dick sucked when I was watching the game. Like, oh my God, we're going to actually win. He's going to kick a field goal. And I was like, okay, I don't want to watch it because every time they go to that angle from behind the kicker, we always seem to miss. I was like, okay, I'm not going to watch it. I'll just listen. I'm not leaving the room. I'm going to be confident. He's going to make it. He always makes it, right? It's 46, and then I just hear like the bat. I was like, oh fuck! I just dropped my head and didn't even look, but I heard Brady and them saying. But another thing, real quick, I know I'm rambling. No, Brady was like, he's a great kicker. He's only missed twice all year. It's like, oh no, the fucking jinx.
Well, I gotta tell you that we came close. And I really do believe that we're close to surpassing the Green Bay Packers. The big if, of course, is if Caleb Williams turns into the quarterback that we were promised that he would be, and that many of us see him very, very capable of becoming. Take a look at this. This was Chris Sims on NBC Football Night in America talking about Caleb. I want you to listen very closely to what he says.
Decisive, not greedy. I think that's something we've seen from Caleb Williams. We didn't see that today. He knew where he wanted to go with the football. Look how quickly he gets the ball out of his hands here. First read, second read, completion over the middle to Odunze. under 2.5 seconds throwing the football for the most part of the day. Here, 3rd down and 9. Guys open, throw it. Don't look for a bigger play. Again, another 3rd down. It's your best receiver, DJ Moore. Hit him. It doesn't always have to be sexy and explosive. And then, Devin McCourty talked about this. When there was nothing there, don't dance around in the pocket and buy time and get sacked. Make a play with your legs. You're a gifted runner. A lot better by Caleb Williams today.
Did you know? Go ahead. No, please, go ahead.
I was just going to make a joke. The way Chris Sims was dressed there, he looks like he'd be the guy knocking at your door wanting to talk about Jehovah's Witness or whatever.
Yeah. It's kind of like Steve Kornacki a little bit, you know. But did you hear him at the beginning? He contradicted himself.
He did. He said he wasn't like that today.
Right. And then that reminded me of this.
Let's go scatter to west, right, tight. F left. 372 Y stick, Z spot.
Here we go. Scatter to west, right, tight. F left. 382 Y stick.
Christ. Just go scatter to west, right, tight, F left.
Yeah.
372 Y stick, Z spot.
Here we go. Scattered. Say it again.
Scatter to west, right, tight, F left. 372 Y stick, Z spot.
Here we go. Scattered to
west, right, tight.
Scattered to west, right, tight, F left. 382. 372.
Y stick, Z spot.
Z spot. I'm already break.
Christ.
Chris Sims is a fucking idiot. I mean, he is where he is on the football field.
The Nepo baby.
Yes, exactly. He's working at NBC because he's a Nepo baby and he got his opportunities in football for the same reason. The guy's a fucking idiot. But I am glad that he likes the way Caleb Williams. Although that might be the kiss of death. I don't know.
The 3 guys that epitomize that term Nepo baby. Jack Collinsworth, Chris Sims, and LeBron James' son right now with the Lakers.
I like that. That is good. Swanky says, I would draft Aldo over some. Swanky keeps saying some nice things about me in the chat. I gotta believe he wants me to set him up with one of my wife's friends. Cause he loves
or
me.
if you were a Jehovah's Witness, you could set him up with one of your wives.
That's right. Swanky says, Aldo, just think about all the puss you would have gotten down in Tampa Bay. Yeah, I would be hanging out in the senior homes. Definitely. Bellissimo says, I fucking hate stupidly long play calls. What exactly are you shortening with all that verbiage? You know, I gotta admit, I know for sure I could not recite those plays. You tell them in my ear and then I'm going to recite that. I'm sorry. Write it down for me. When I was a flag football coach, that's the way I was the head coach. And that's the way I would call the plays. I would write the play down on an index with a diagram. I would have all these cards prepared and I would give them to somebody who would take them out to the field and the quarterback would show them. It worked for a while until we got our asses kicked by a bigger, stronger, smarter team. Anyway, the Bears are definitely in a tight situation. I wonder if we are ever going to make the right coaching decision, but it is coming, Dan. It's coming. And
we've been saying that for a decade.
Yeah,
we've been saying that since Wani got fired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have any faith, but I don't want to sit here and just beat up George McCaskey either. I mean, you could have Dan Snyder, for example. You could always have a bad owner. At least McCaskey really wants to win.
Yep.
And he does get out of the way. You know, he's given, the reins over to your general manager and you're a player, your president there, Mr. Warren. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he's, the guy that just won't get out of the way. So like the Carolina guy or Daniel Snyder when he's with the Redskins. So I don't hate her. I like our fucking owners. I know no one else wants to agree with that. They haven't won enough. I get it. At least they care and they want to win. But I don't think that they're necessarily the problem. The problem is you got to hire the right people.
Well, and that's what they're not good at. They are not hiring the right people. And so you got to wonder, why is that? they've brought in hiring consultants. They've had search committees. They've relied on football guys like Bill Polian and stuff, and they just keep making the wrong decisions. And I gotta believe it's because they're setting a criteria up. They're setting a criteria of really nice guys who don't swear, who are
Don't rock the boat.
yeah, and we'll be nice to them. We won't fire them in season and stuff. And perhaps, I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. But perhaps that's the problem, is that they're setting this criteria up that is handcuffing the people who are making decisions. The more and more, because I look at a lot of videotape when I'm doing my videos on Ryan Post and stuff. I've gone from really liking the guy and liking his plan to loving him when he started making some good choices and stuff. And now it's the roller coaster ride is going downhill. Now I'm starting to really cringe when I see some of that tape and looking back at some of the mistakes he's made. And he's been more lucky than good. Getting Caleb Williams was a stroke of luck. That trade that he engineered with the Panthers, that was part smarts or genius, whatever you want to call it. But the fact that they landed with Caleb Williams and he's being heralded as, potential, this before the season, of course, potential GM of the year. That was fucking luck, man. He's not as clever, perhaps, as we give him credit for. That's how I feel today. Tomorrow I'll feel differently.
Well, I can't disagree with you. I think, but if I wanted to criticize the McCaskies, I would say that this is just an opinion, but it's like that they were so butthurt over Mike Ditka and Jim McMahon and just these powerful presence. It's think about 2019. There was, I think it was the Bears Commanders game, or they're the football team or something back then, but they're on the sidelines and Matt Nagy told Trubisky to shut the fuck up and listen to him or whatever. And that was in the open mic. Of course they beeped it out. Could you imagine if Ed Hughes would have told Jim McMahon to shut the fuck up? Or even just Ditka, he'd be like, who the fuck are you to tell me to shut up? So I'm saying, they had these powerful presences before. And it seems like since then, they're like, okay, we don't want a quarterback. We want a quarterback that's going to say, sir, not the one that's going to drink the beer. All right, we want a coach who is, going to be real low key, not the fiery guy who's going to be on commercials. It's like they want the antithesis of everything. Ironically, everything that was a winner for you, though.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good point. Because, there were times where I hated Ditka during his reign here in Chicago because he just kept, selling himself out to commercials, alienating players and stuff like that. But I always loved what he did those first 3, 4, or 5 years, what he did in Chicago, which is he changed the culture. And you can't coach professional football players like they're a part of a corporation with corporate rules and stuff like that. And that's what we had. Went with Trestman talking about his toolbox of ideas.
Dildos.
Yes, he had a those too. But all these corporate phrases, that are still being used today by Eberflus, you can't use that. You can't use that shit on players. You got to talk to them like fucking whiskey drinking guys who are, capable of going out and killing somebody if that other person looks at them the wrong way. You got to relate to that type of person, because those are the people that are going to win you football games in the trenches, fighting somebody who wants it just as badly as you, and you got to fight with a will to win that nobody can surpass, because sometimes that's what it takes. Doesn't take great strategy or whatever. It just takes fucking fighters. And boy, oh boy, we don't have that at the top, and it starts to slowly eke its way down to the DJ Moores and the Cole Kmets, great players who aren't constantly playing with that will to win. DJ Moore right now is really disappointing me with all of these false start penalties, a player in motion penalty. I mean, over the last 3 games, he's had 2 penalties where he's taking off before he's supposed to take off. Dude, you're one of the captains. And your
highest
body
paid
language
player on the team.
Yeah. Your body language sucks. Why is he why is this happening? It's happening because of Eberflus. I'm sorry, it is. Yeah, you could blame him. Sure, he deserves blame. But if you had a Bill Belichick there, if you had a John Gruden there, if you had one of those hard as nails coach, if you had Ditka there, fucking DJ Moore would be busting his ass and not making those stupid mistakes.
Yeah, like Ditka would have been like, I mean, again, this is two different eras, but I could see Mike Ditka saying, like, remember when it was Noah Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he cut him. He's like, didn't even have a replacement yet, but he's just loafing too much and too complacent. I could see him saying, like, yeah, we cut DJ Moore because he's the most expensive player on the team and has no fucking heart, you know, or whatever. Like, he's not exerting any effort. He should, and like he would want to make an example out of him just to prove his point. Whether that's right or wrong, like that would almost be like he would look at it, relish that opportunity to cut DJ Moore or to rip him because he is the highest paid player on the team.
Yep. Man, oh man. I see that Tooch is in the waiting room. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go. Oh, we got the thumbs up. And I'm telling you, I almost have an erection right now because I've been looking so forward to his Bear State of Affairs. And let me bring him in now. He's a good-looking man. He's worked
He's
for
got the
many
background. He's got the background back.
Yeah, it was weird. It wasn't working last week. And then I logged back in on Sunday and everything was working again. It was just StreamYard issue or something.
I just want to let all of our new listeners and viewers in the chat room know that Johnny Santucci, besides having a brilliant football mind and also being a brilliant handicapper, has a long career in the pornographic film industry. We celebrate him here all the time, talking about great movies like Will My Dick Fit? Movie he made with the transgender cast. And many more things. Tooch, what have you been thinking about with your Bear State of Affairs? Was this one another easy one because they lost?
Yeah, I mean, again, this season's unique in that it's both painful and entertaining.
Yeah, how about it?
So yeah, I mean, while it was tough to write, it was also cathartic.
Yeah, and I'm trying to convince Dan that maybe now we have to start laughing at the losses in order to maintain our sanity. Do you think that's good advice?
No.
No laughing.
I'm gonna hit that in Bear State of Affairs.
Oh!
Can I touch on it one more time before Tooch gets going?
Please.
A guy I played Little League with, for God's sake, known him since 1988, just fucking died. He was born 17 days before me, 44, just turned 44 like myself. He just fucking died. They're like, his heart, he's dead.
Oh my God.
So the reason I bring that up is I don't know how many, I'm not being dramatic. I honestly think this. I don't know how many more seasons I have left, and it's another lost year. On paper, they're 4-6. I remember that, the Jaguars in 96 winning their last 5 or 6 games and making it all the way to the AFC Championship game. I would I would suck somebody's dick for that with the Bears. It's like, we never do that. Why can't we go on a run like that? It's another year. Like, the one thing I did hear on Sunday was from Yurko. Yurko said this was the best outing you're going to get after firing your coordinator. This was the best effort you're going to get the rest of the season. He said that Minnesota is liable to blow this team out the next week.
Who said that?
Yurko.
Oh my gosh.
Yurko does the ESPN post game with Peggy.
With Peggy.
I listened to like 4 or 5 minutes of it, and I just turned it off and sat in silence in front of the TV.
I thought the Bears would get a dead cat bounce from Thomas Brown, and that they'd cover. And the line reflected it went from 6.5 to 5.5 before the game.
Right.
After Waldron was fired and Thomas Brown was announced as OC, the line moved 1 point. So you figure a lot of sharps around the Bears to cover. So I kind of thought that they would be close in this one.
Right, let's address Ralph's question before we do State of Affairs. What makes you guys think that the Bears are going to fire Eberflus?
Does he mean overall, like after the season?
Yeah, I think that's what he means.
Holy shit! If they would bring him back in 2025,
Tell Ralph to stick around for Bears State of Affairs. I'll answer his question about 50 times over.
Let me tell you why they're going to.
Just being real, just relying on the relationships, talking to guys, looking them eye to eye and having real conversations.
This is so much cancer that I can feel the tumors growing on my back.
Whenever you have adversity,
and it's way down heavy on me, and it's not okay.
Football
Stop
team.
this.
That's what you have to do. Have real conversations, be truthful, look people in the eye and tell them the truth, and tell them how you feel, and also listen. And then when you listen really good, you can get a good feel for where everybody is.
I hate that guy.
That was class. Did you make that, or that was freaking brilliant?
Who was the other guy? It sounded like Adam Driver.
I didn't shoot him, so I found that video and I saw, oh, this is perfect, and it was already on a green screen, so it was an easy edit.
Classic.
So yeah, thanks. And he captured how we feel. And yesterday's Buffon 55, I referred to Eberflus as kind of the new COVID virus. We were calling it EF3, Eberflus 3, because it's this third season, and it has become like a virus. It's infecting everyone at Alice Hall. It's infecting the city of Chicago. Yep. I'm so happy I don't have to drive on Monday mornings, because after these losses, I imagine people are cutting people off in traffic, heading to downtown or heading away from downtown, because it's really fucking bad. Very angry. Very angry.
I didn't text with people much during the game, just a little bit with Anthony. I texted one word to Dan Aguirre after the game. A one-word text, Danny.
What was it?
Fuck. That was it.
I didn't have the wherewithal to respond.
I know. I thank you for that.
Exactly.
No words necessary.
All right, for those of you, again, who are first time, Tooch every week gives us the Bears' state of affairs, and we start with this.
Everyone on this show's a dog and a loser. Not John. He's the best, except for me. Except for me.
All right, Bears state of affairs. This is me after Sunday's game.
Jesus.
That's how Bears fans feel. Now there's nothing left, man. We're all burnt. We're all burnt, Aldo.
To a crisp.
All right. Bears state of affairs, 2024 NFL season, week 12. What's happening, Barflies? Well, the Bears played their 10th game of the season, and it was another heartbreaking defeat. An embarrassing almost victory. A heartbreaking, foolish 20-19 loss at home to the Green Bay Packers that dropped the team to 4-6. A do-si-do switcheroo of a loss where the Bears fans thought the team would defy all odds and finally end their losing streak to the Packers.
Yeah!
But instead, the team once again defied all odds and sabotaged their own game-winning drive when Cairo Santos' 46-yard game-winning field goal was blocked. It was a soul-crushing defeat that didn't just rip the hearts of Bears fans out of their chests. It stomped on their plucked hearts, shredded them, and doused them in gasoline and lit them on fire.
I'm crying.
That's right. Man, Sunday's almost victory was another testimony toward their coach's propensity for blowing near certain victories. Again, the Bears head coach made the wrong decision, spoiling his young quarterback's fourth quarter heroics and refusing to make the right decisions. Sorry. It sounds like someone's eating in the background.
It's not me. Dan, are you eating? He is, I bet.
Again, the Bears head coach made the wrong decision, spoiling his young quarterback's fourth quarter heroics and refusing to make his reliable kicker's game-winning kick easier. Yeah, more evidence in Bears fans' quest to get another incompetent head coach fired. And this season, by my count, Matt Eberflus, the current temporary head coach of the Bears, has cost the team 2 games with his incompetence and mismanagement. The Commanders' Hail Mary debacle, and now the near certain victory.
Sometimes we're funny.
Now, the near certain victory against the Packers, a team he's never beaten and likely never will. In his 3 seasons, by my count, he's cost his team at least 6 games. The guy is cursed. He's a dud. He's unquestionably the worst coach in Bears history. Overall, he's 13-30, 0-18 on the road, and now 0-15 versus the Packers. Yeah. Yep. Eberflus versus the other coaches in 1-score games. There's Eberflus down at the very bottom, far away from the pack. Yeah, he's 5-17 in 1-score games. By far the worst coach in 1-score games in NFL history, and it's not even close. Yep, Matt Eberflus is breaking NFL records in reverse. He's got to be the one Bears head coach in team history that Bears fans want to fire the most. Yep. Yeah, Eberflus into 6 games where he's blown a 4th quarter lead. Yeah. On Sunday, following another Caleb Williams 4th quarter game-winning drive, the Bears had a 71.3% chance to win during yesterday's game versus the Packers and still lost. Over the last 3 seasons, they've blown 5 leads with a 90% or higher chance of winning. The odds of losing all 6 of those games are 1 in 68 million. Yes. Fucking fire, man! Yes, 1 in 68 million. Did you guys get that? He's winning the lottery in reverse, Aldo. Yeah, well, it sounds like piling on. But here in Chicago, it's difficult to watch as Jim Harbaugh's Chargers look like a playoff team with an identity in year 1. Yeah, knowing that he was a coach. That's difficult to watch Jim Harbaugh in year 1, knowing that he was a coaching free agent last January. This might be one of Ryan Pohl's biggest misses. On Sunday versus the Bengals, Harbaugh faced similar game situations as Matt Eberflus, and Harbaugh didn't choke. First down at the Bengals' 29-yard line, game on the line, Jim Harbaugh could have knelt and settled for a field goal. Nope. He ran the ball, a 29-yard touchdown run. Then, before a Bengals Hail Mary, Harbaugh called a timeout. And he blitzed the Bengals on the Hail Mary, too. Yeah, this isn't complicated. Unless your name starts with Eber and ends with Flus. Yeah. Here we go with Cairo Santos numbers. The clock was stopped with 35 seconds to go. The Bears were in a rhythm. The Packers were on their heels. The Bears still had a timeout remaining, and Eberflus decided that trying to advance the ball 8 more yards to get it to a range where Santos never misses wasn't worth it. Yeah, he didn't even try to get the ball in the right hash, where his kicker admittedly prefers to kick from. Yeah, it's a shame, man. This wasn't Green Bay being far superior. This wasn't the offensive coordinator being incompetent. It wasn't the quarterback lacking talent. This was the head coach being a total idiot again. Don't believe me? Listen, man. Packers quarterback Jordan Love has a passer rating of 53.5 against the blitz this season, which ranks 34th among 40 quarterbacks. The Bears blitzed him only 3 times on Sundays. Yeah, Matt Eberflus plays not to lose instead of playing to win. He lets communication and planning go out the window in the final minutes of tight games. He isn't a real head coach. He's a coordinator masquerading as a head coach. I'm fairly certain that he wouldn't win at the college level either. Why he's still the Bears head coach is a mystery. After the game, Eberflus had nothing but cliches to say, saying, quote, "Tough times don't last, tough people do." Insert groan here, Aldo.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Well, Coach, unfortunately, your tough times are lasting a bit too long for us Bears fans. Yeah. What's next? Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger? How about a good old, we had a great week of practice? Yeah. Yeah, apparently we had a lot of good complimentary football, according to Coach Eberflus. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about you, man. I am really tired of all the gym teacher platitudes. You know, it makes me wonder, Aldo, Bears ownership gives their coaches some kind of leadership manual with a bunch of motivational cliches they all quote from.
That's right.
You know?
Yep.
Signed by Virginia McCaskey. Yeah. Yes. After Sunday's loss, in fact, this whole week, Matt Eberflus doubled down on his boneheaded decisions, basically saying he was satisfied with the decisions he made. He praised the team and assured fans that the team will overcome these struggles and come out stronger on the other side. Let me break it down for you, Dan, Aldo.
Yes.
All the tough times Eberflus is taking credit for overcoming, he created himself.
That's right.
It's his fault, man. Yeah, he and his GM created all of this adversity that they're going to take credit for persevering through. Yeah. At the end of the year, they're going to say something like, well, Thomas Brown has us headed in the right direction after that disaster of Shane Waldron.
Good hell, oh my God, no way.
Yep. So why is Matt Eberflus still here? Because Ryan Poles refuses to fire him. His GM apparently has a hard time letting go of any of the stray dogs he's collected. Yeah, hopefully Poles' seat is just as warm as Eberflus's. Now, it's glaringly obvious that the decisions of both Eberflus and Poles will likely cost the team a wild card playoff spot. And Bears fans know this. We know that Eberflus isn't the guy. We know Poles isn't the guy. Hell, we know George McCaskey isn't the guy. They're nothing but polite institutional losers presiding over systemic failure and dysfunction. But hey, at least they're polite.
That's right.
Yeah. But it wasn't all bad news on Sunday, no? Yeah, the Bears offense looked a lot better under new offensive coordinator Thomas Brown. There were more condensed formations with motions that made sense. And the team made an effort to get the ball out quicker. A credit to play designs and credit to Caleb Williams. And Thomas Brown used players how they should be used. He found mismatches against the Packers' defense. And Caleb Williams, well, he was excellent in the fourth quarter. He proved himself to be fully capable of leading his team to victory in crunch time with the game on the line. He's been fantastic in the fourth quarter of games this season. How good has he been? He's completed 67% of his passes with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception in the fourth quarter. He's also 15 of 18 for 158 yards and a touchdown on 4th down. He is absolutely nails when it matters most. Hell, could you imagine what the national perception of Caleb Williams would be after leading comfort behind drives to beat Washington and Green Bay?
Yep.
Shit, instead we're talking about 2 failed defensive and special team plays and calling for another head coach to be fired. Shit. How long before Caleb Williams gets sick of his head coach robbing him of his comfort behind game-winning drives and says, get rid of this guy?
Sorry for being dramatic.
Yeah, it's not all bad news. Yeah, there's one more slide. It's not all bad news, man. If you're a Bears fan, as Rex Ryan says, quote, the best thing happened. Your quarterback looked good and you lost, so now you can get a new head coach.
Oh, Rex.
Gotta agree with that, man. I'd rather have a loss where Caleb Williams looks like he did against the Packers than a win where Caleb Williams looks lost. Yeah, this season, it ain't about wins anymore. It's about Caleb Williams making progress and growing as a quarterback. It's all we have left. Thankfully, we haven't seen any Bears fans asking if Tyson Bagent can kick field goals. That's probably coming, though, Aldo.
Yes.
Yeah. It's getting harder to be a Bears fan every day. This season's been especially difficult. We've had to watch the team make the same old mistakes. And the remaining schedule for the Bears is one of the toughest in the NFL. All I know is that the Bears would have the 6th seed right now if they stopped the Commanders' Hail Mary and kicked the game-winning field goal against the Packers. And if Dan and Aldo had a couple more inches, they'd be porn stars like me. And that's Bears state of affairs, brother.
We're finished talking.
Very well done there, Johnny Santucci. Mr. Shorty has given you a $9.99 tip.
Wow, nice.
That is good. That's bigger than any tip I've given a lap dance girl in my life. So I once went to watch over at the Admiral Theater a stripper by the name of Wendy Whoppers, and
I know Wendy.
Yeah, we all know Wendy back from the 70s and 80s, and so she was doing her dance, and so it was the first time I ever been to a place like that, and I went up to give her a tip. I gave her $1, and she's continuing to dance. She notices there's $1 along with the 5s and 10s and 20s in her garter belt. And she looks over at me like she wanted to kick my ass. So I learned a lesson there. Thank you, Mr. Shorty. That money is going to the Johnny Santucci charity fund.
Yeah, that was from the heart, Shorty.
Yeah, well, and Flex says you were 100% right. Tooch
when you're a Bears fan for 50 years, this is where you end up, Aldo.
Yeah, well, you really nail it. I am going to hate the days when the Bears keep winning because the state of affairs probably not going to measure up.
They'll be a lot happier.
Anything that you disagreed with, Dan, on Tooch's state of affairs?
No, it was really well done.
Yeah, indeed. What are you going to say, Tooch?
Thank you. Yeah, the all the adversity that the team is overcoming, those two idiots, they manufactured all of it. With
I love that.
Their shitty hires and their bad rosters, their stupid decisions during the game.
That was absolutely right. Belisma says, how much is that $9.99 going to buy in therapy?
Yeah, not enough.
Definitely not enough. Not even in Iowa.
I do have a comment on it.
Sure.
I wish that I had the wherewithal to not allow this to affect me. Because I'm cognizant of the fact that, I'm sitting there after the game behaving like, it's a game, right? Right. And I'm sitting there acting like an asshole, not going out with my wife and being, quiet and sullen. And it's like, I see myself doing this and I have no way of changing it. I wish that I could do something to not allow it to affect me to the way it does. Does that make any sense? Like, I'm aware that it's an irrational, love or addiction or something.
Yeah. No,
but I can't stop it.
You got to figure out a way because, you don't want it to affect your relationship with your friends and especially your wife and kids or stepchildren and so forth, the people that you love, the people closest to you. And I noticed that was happening to me in the past and I've stopped it for a while and then it happens again. And just recently, I was watching the game upstairs in the living room and Donna came over and started watching with me and she started talking during the game and I snapped at her and and she was like, okay. And she got up and left and I felt awful, but she knows how I get during the game. Don't fucking talk to me. Don't ask me questions. Don't make small talk, especially if the Bears are losing. Because I'm a fucking, I'm ready to pop, man. I'm like a grenade ready to explode. So I apologize to her, but one of these days she's going to tell me, hey, by the way, your bags are packed and the 48. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, let's hope not.
Yeah, really. Tooch, you go through situations like that with your family? I mean, you got two small kids, so you got to be super careful.
Yeah, the past two games my wife has watched with me has been the Commanders and the Packers games.
Oh, God.
It's a terrible impression. We're making a terrible impression for her learning about football,
Yeah. Don't do that to them. Wait till the Bears start winning and then I took my two daughters to a Bulls game, and they lost by 40 points to the Toronto Raptors, and they said, we never want to go to a Bulls game again. and they haven't. It was awful. And I have spent hundreds of dollars on seats, close to the court. It's bad, and it's too bad that Chicago Bears organization doesn't feel the pain like we do. There's no way they feel the pain like we do. The McCaskey family, Mrs. McCaskey, respectfully, there's no way you're feeling this pain, because you would figure out a way to correct this problem. It's because it's awful. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, what's alarming is that it took him 9 games to realize that Shane Waldron couldn't coach football.
Right. I mean, that's been apparent.
I mean, I don't know whether how we talk about the Bears getting football people in there. I don't even think Poles and Ward are football people, or Eberflus. I mean, they're just guys.
Yeah. Well, and when you look back, you look at Shane Waldron's resume, he's never coached a rookie quarterback. He's always worked with veteran quarterbacks, and he's never had the challenges that he was going to face with the Chicago Bears. And so that makes that a bad pick. And then when you say you're a running team, and this guy comes from Seattle, and the fans in Seattle, and even the head coach are complaining. They're complaining that we weren't calling enough running plays, meaning Shane wasn't calling them. Then you got to wonder, did you really do your homework?
Yeah, did they do the research on Waldron? Like, check and see what the media was saying about him, the fans, anything like that? You really have to dig. I mean, look, Mike North has been saying this for a while. He's been saying that, like, hey, I wanted Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins, a veteran with this team. And, I mean, if you're keeping Eberflus, you need a veteran quarterback, because that's how he coaches.
Mm-hmm.
He's not.
Good point.
He doesn't coach for developing a rookie. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you keep making these marriages that don't work, that they're out of sync. You're bringing in a rookie quarterback with a lame duck coach, and
again, for the 3rd time in a row.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say this. Because I hate to sound like I'm bragging or anything, but I know better than that.
Yeah, we talked about it last year.
Yeah,
about, are they going to end up with not being able to develop a quarterback with this guy and end up firing another lame duck coach? That's exactly where we are.
And they talk about us fans, and I'm going to actually go there. Greg Gabriel, 3 weeks ago, when I was saying we need to fire Flus, he says, "You're talking like a fan."
Yeah,
and then for the
now
last 2 weeks, he wants Flus
we got to get rid of this guy.
You know what? Sometimes us fans who have been witness to this mediocrity, to this disaster, really, year after year, we know better. We fucking know better. And, with all due respect to my good buddy Greg Gabriel, don't tell me I'm talking just like a fan. I'm talking like a fucking victim here. Is what I'm talking about.
If I don't have the slide. Anyways, if we do end up losing, let's at least get the development out of Caleb. At least, and I think last Sunday's game, he showed a lot of just moxie. In the 4th quarter, he was like hitting everybody, throwing where we needed the ball to go, rallying the team. 3rd and long, boom, we're completing. It's like what other teams do to us all the time, Dan. 3rd and long, 3rd and 14, the other team's going to complete it against us.
Yeah, and when he got sacked the first 2 plays of that final drive, you're like, oh my God, how can you only have won the whole game and then suddenly now? But I also thought at that moment, like, you have timeouts, you could still run the ball. Why are you passing? Like, just go down and take your time. But when I thought, oh fuck, here we go. It's going to be a turnover on downs. And then he completed the pass on 3rd down, and I was like, okay, is there any way in hell? Oh, he's kind of lobbing that in on 4th down. Oh my God, he caught it. Like, it's not that I thought I'm negative, but I was still downtrodden because of those sacks. So then when he completed the pass to Keenan, I'm like, oh man, we got a shot here.
Yeah.
And in typical Bears fashion.
Yep. I was watching Phone 55 last night, and Aldo had this really great video montage, about 4 or 5 minutes long. And in the video, I noticed that Ryan Poles introducing Matt Eberflus like, my new brother. Like, this is why the guy isn't fired. Because Poles thinks of him like a brother. I can't fire my brother. Right. You know what? Then they both have to go.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
They both have to go.
Exactly. I understand what Poles is trying to do there. He wants to let people know I'm going to have a really tight relationship with my head coach. But that's the one thing that you have to be really, really careful with. Yeah. When you have a friend who reports to you that you're their boss, that friendship has a very thin line because you might have to reprimand that person. You might have to dock them and you might have to fire them. Exactly.
It's a rookie mistake, Aldo.
Right. And when Poles cried when he had to release that defensive back, I said to myself,
Adrian Colbert,
who they brought back,
He's back though.
He is back, right? So
he's with Khalil Herbert's number.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's wearing 24.
We should have
off that bicycle. He needs to stay off that bicycle, Aldo.
Yeah, exactly. Please stay off the bicycle.
Probably in his new contract.
I hope so. But and when Dan was talking about that final drive, when Swift ran the ball for 2 or 3 yards, there should have been 2 plays called in the huddle, so that immediately they would have lined up and then ran a play to the right to set it up for that right hash. That's good coaching. That's what Andy Reid would call
Ruski.
You bundle those plays together, the Bundaruski. But not the Bears. They don't do that.
And why is everybody always concussed with the Bears? As soon as you get Bates back, now he's out with the concussion. And if your safety, who again we are worried about, if Brisker's going to be out, why not put him on IR sooner? Now they say he's got to be out like 3 more games. Hell, he's already missed 5 games. Like, why not put him on IR to begin with if he's that bad?
Yeah, Jake Curran played pretty good though at guard. Didn't notice too much of a job. He just sucked at tackle the week before. And then Matt Pryor also played pretty well at guard. So they had, guard, the interior offensive line wasn't too bad.
Right. 3 Point says, why don't we promote Cunningham and fire Poles and Tooch? Here's the problem.
Fire Tooch?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm kidding.
3 Point.
I think you meant Flus, not Tooch.
Okay. All right, I got it.
But are we sure Cunningham is any better? I'm not sure of that.
You got to wipe the slate clean, I think.
Yeah, I think so. The whole idea. Somebody on Twitter said to that.
I might get rid of Warren too.
Absolutely. It can't build a stadium.
Yeah, not only that, but they have this beautiful piece of property in Arlington Heights with a train stop right at the field.
Yes.
The Metro stops right at the field.
Yes, at least open up a supermarket there.
You know how I know that the train? Because one time I got on the wrong train and got off there by mistake.
Is that right?
I had to call my mom to come pick me up.
By the way, how is your mom?
She's doing better. She's still in the hospital, but they got her, under control. She was, the blood clots in the legs. Her legs swelled up. They got the blood thinner and some shots, to get her down. But just having some blood oxygen level problems. She needs oxygen all the time. And the insurance hasn't approved Medicare, Medicaid. I don't know. They should approve of this. Between Medicare and Medicaid, they should approve an oxygen tank at home so she can. Sit with. She needs oxygen pretty much all the time now. But
oh man, that sucks. Yeah. Well,
she's in good spirits though.
Dan and I wish her well, and I know all the barflies are wishing her well too. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Sunday's game against the Vikings and what the concern is about the rookie quarterback having to deal with the exotic blitzes that Flores has. This is, I think I have here. I don't actually. I don't see it. What's his name?
Aldo's being really dramatic with this point.
Is it Aldo or me? I thought was I frozen too?
No, Aldo was frozen for me.
Aldo was frozen. All right.
Am I back now?
You're back.
Okay, good. So anyway, here it is. I found it. This is Caleb talking about how he is going about the whole task of learning how to deal with blitzes, particularly in the pre-snap.
Fooled ya.
Clearly, I made a mistake there. Anyway, he's got a hell of a challenge ahead of him and having to deal with Brian Flores' exotic blitzes. I'll never forget last year, game one.
That first play with Fields.
Exactly. Vikings, the play is there. Fields actually called the offensive line to block to the right, and he knew there were 6 rushers and 5 blockers, so there was going to be one guy coming in free. And since they're going to the right, it's going to be the guy on the left. And so he was supposed to drift 2 steps and fire the ball on a 2-yard pattern, and hopefully the fullback was the number 1 receiver. He could break a tackle and pick up some yards. Well, he didn't release the ball. First of all, he didn't drift to the right.
Yeah.
And he didn't release the ball. He now looks to his left and, whoa, who's there but a Viking who sacked him on the very first play. And fans were upset. Oh, why start with an empty backfield? No, that was on Justin. It was on Justin. He knew that was the first play. He knew what his assignment was. And so what I'm hoping to see on Sunday is Caleb handle those types of plays without those types of mental breakdowns. One of the things that I'm concerned about Caleb is that sometimes he does look a little nervous. He said famously, I don't get nervous. I've never gotten nervous before. Well, fuck, you've looked nervous. You looked nervous in that Titans game 1. You looked nervous in Washington. You've looked nervous in a couple of losses. That's got to stop. He's got to be confident and aware of what he's doing, because that is one of the keys to being a great quarterback. What do you guys think?
I think it was fair to call him nervous against Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's looked nervous since then. I think he's just looked beaten down from all the sacks, where he just knows they're going to come. And what can he do? Like, everything he does is 9-10 sacks. I think all of us, would start to feel reticent about what I'm seeing if I know I'm just going to get knocked down and there's nothing to do to stop it.
Yep. I remember watching Peyton Manning when he had a poor offensive line, and they showed on slow motion him cringing before the defensive lineman came to hit. He was anticipating hits, and that is going to affect even the best quarterbacks. Cliff says Caleb getting the plays with 20 seconds left on the play clock is huge. Yep. Brown can lay out the defense for Caleb until the clock hits 15.
Caleb came out and said that too.
Yeah, yeah. That is
that I had the play early, and Thomas clearly communicated the play to me. I could hear him in my headphone, all that stuff.
I do. Man, I'm literally praying that Thomas Brown is the guy, because he could potentially unlock the potential of this offense. Because yes, we don't have a great offensive line.
9 games too late, though.
But at least okay. So we don't make the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
fine. But 1984, the Bears did make the playoffs, but you knew 85 was going to be a fucking special year. That's how I want this season to end. The way I
to
felt.
To be fair, Aldo, they did make it to the NFC Championship game in '84.
Yes, and they lost. What was it? 17-0.
23-0.
Okay, I think I stopped watching after 17-0. But the feeling that
the Rams or Cowboys they lost.
No, it was Washington, wasn't it? Washington.
San Francisco.
San Francisco, yeah.
Yes.
San
Francisco was 15-1 that year, and then they beat Miami in the Super Bowl.
But when Ditka spoke after the game, he wasn't mad. He knew he had something special. It was like the old Bum Phillips line. We were knocking on the door this year. Next year, we're gonna turn that fucking door down. That was the feeling we had in '84 about the Bears, and that's the feeling I want after Week 17. That we're gonna tear that door down to the playoffs and make a march to the Super Bowl.
I guess if Eberflus comes back, that would be every fan's nightmare, man.
How would you feel, Dan Aguirre? You're probably the most diehard of all fans that I've ever fucking met.
Yep.
How would you feel?
Because I'm a loser. That's
You belong as a Bears fan.
I don't know. I would be really disappointed. I toted the company line. I was like, okay, all right. They did win a bunch of games to close out the year, etc. I don't think. I would still watch. I would still be rooting. I still lie to you. But if he were the coach, I would be like, oh fuck. I would be negative from the jump.
Yeah. I frankly, and I maybe Tooch can relate to this because while he's younger than me, he's seen a lot of painful things like I have for decades as a Bears fan. I have been wondering, as I'm 66, do I really want this fucking turmoil every fall?
We
at
keep
least give me
hoping that that we get to one more Super Bowl.
Yeah, this can't last forever. All this losing can't last forever. At least get me close to a Super Bowl. Let me be disappointed one weekend. The weekend we get knocked out of the playoffs. Not every fucking game.
Like I said a long time ago in Bears Say Affairs that Eberflus ain't getting us to the promised land. I could tell. I just know. This is my 50th year. I'm 56. I started watching Bears games in 1974. It's my 50th year. I've been through a lot. We've been in 2 Super Bowls and we're 1-1, in my lifetime. So
that's amazing. 50 years. Yep. Jesus.
Vaginal farts are wonderful things.
The Vikings, I mean, if we're talking Vikings a little bit here, look, it's super hard to run on the Vikings. They only allowed 33 yards rushing to the Titans.
Oh, that's good. Our running back's hurt.
Our running back is hurt. So that's my next point. Like Thomas Brown, he has a groin injury. But it's a good thing Roschon Johnson is capable. If we need short yardage, but he's also a good receiver out of the backfield. The Vikings with that good run defense, everyone passes on them. They give up like almost 300 yards passing per game. So if we're gonna win, Caleb has got to throw the ball. We gotta prevent stop the Vikings rush. Identify the blitzers and get rid of the ball fast again, like we did against the Packers.
That's the recipe. And you guys were talking about DeAndre Swift's injury. This is what Flu said today, and this is straight, no clowns or no special effects.
Yeah, just a little bit of a groin strain. Again, we got to give them some rest. Those guys are, torque their legs and do a really good job. And he's a high twitch guy, so we just got to do a really good job of resting him the next day or two to make sure he's ready to go.
You describe it like that. It sounds like maybe not a huge concern.
Yeah, we're hopeful. We're hopeful there. So hopefully, again, it's all about progress, right? Going through day to day, but we're hopeful.
A high twitch guy with a muscle injury does not sound like a good thing, man. I'm just saying.
Has anyone asked him about Brisker's health? Honestly, because
yes. And
you have the clip. I'd love to hear what he said about that.
I can find it. I don't have it handy, but basically what he said is that he, thought that, all right, he's still going through the symptoms, and there's like a 5-step protocol. And I think the one that he's having problem with is doing aerobic exercises. After he does the exercises, he's either getting headaches or feeling some type of vertigo.
Dizziness. Yeah.
Right. And so that's the stumbling block. And until he gets through that step 2 or 3 in that 5-step process, they're not going to play him. So they figured, let's open up the roster spot.
I mean, I just hope he's okay. Is what I'm saying. Even if he never plays another down, is he going to be okay?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the key thing. Yeah,
it's dangerous for his health to be out there if he's going to get dizzy during a game. Take another shot. I remember the play. It was against the Panthers. And the Panthers tight end Tommy Tremble lowered his head into. Tommy Tremble was fined for the play.
Yes, he should have been penalized, but he was
penalized for helmet to helmet.
Yes,
and both players were knocked out of the game with a concussion. And got knocked out of the game.
Tooch, I remember that play like it was yesterday because I'm sensitive to the fact that Brisker's had these head injuries, and so as soon as I saw that contact, I was concerned for Brisker, but he went to the sidelines, took his helmet off. He was talking to people. Post game, he did an interview with Herb Howard. He looked fine, and so I'm thinking, okay, fine. And then the next day, he called Hallisall and saying, I'm starting to feel symptoms, and which is something that is not abnormal. Sometimes you feel the concussion symptoms, 24 hours later or something like that. And let's hope I'm sure he's had CAT scans and stuff, so let's hope it's not a bleeding of the brain or anything more serious, because that's what a concussion can do. So we'll see.
Yeah. Let's see, the Vikings, over the over the last 3 games, they've scored 21, 12, and 20. They only scored 12 points against the Jaguars.
Yes.
So, I mean, the
Darnold
the
is
offense
coming
can be
back to
stopped.
earth. Yes.
Yeah, we can stop this offense if we had
But
to.
it worries me that it's seemingly every team we play now, they can run on us. And if they throw deep, if the quarterback gets out of the pocket, breaks contain, like we're like impotent cocks back there. Like anyone, like Jefferson, who's going to stop Jefferson if they throw the ball 50 yards? Nobody. It's like we're incapable of stopping the deep pass or the run right now. And I don't understand why that is. I know we've had some injuries, 97's out, Brisker 9's out, but still, man, like, where's your pride, your heart here? Like, I just don't understand why we can't stop the deep pass or the run.
I do have those same concerns, Dan, because the last week's opponent, the Packers, they had 7 possessions. One of them was just one play, the kneel down. So they had really 6 possessions. On 5 of those possessions, they took it down to the Bears' red zone. And one of them, fortunately, was an interception by Tyreek Stevenson's replacement, Terrell Smith, who I think is going to end up beating Tyreek Stevenson for that job. I really do. But nonetheless, your point is correct. They were moving that ball at will on the Bears. And if it wasn't for the Bears offense that had great time of possession because they were running the ball, being very methodical and so forth, the Packers could have put up more points in that game because they were moving the ball at will. There was only one possession where they had to punt. And so I'm a little worried about our defense right now. And I think it might be the after effects of the whole Eberflus, not taking accountability, not saying I fucked up, guys. Help me out here.
And Montez has got to step up. I know he's playing hurt too. I know he's had multiple the ankle, the shin. But dude, when you're getting paid $100 million, you got to get in the stat line. If I'm going to criticize Khalil Mack years ago, then you got to be on Sweat here too.
I agree. The good thing is his Sweat is not on the injury report, so his shin, I can't say it's 100%, but he's at least he was practicing, so that's a good sign.
I mean, he was making a lot of big plays last season after the trade, and maybe he's just hurt, but it feels like he's been nullified throughout this entire season. And when you're lacking a second guy, we thought, well, we traded with Seattle, and that he had 2 sacks in like week 1, and then and then 99 Dexter, we thought, well, he's coming along, but nothing has been consistent. So with that said, the consistency needs to come from your leader, right? It should be from Sweat, and it just feels like he's getting shut out of these games.
Yeah.
Were you guys talking about Tyreek Stevenson?
Yes.
I saw some stat where he's like one of the lowest in the NFL. He allows the most separation. I saw receivers in the NFL. I mean, I know we benched him because of the Commanders game, but when do we start talking about benching him because of that?
Yeah. Terrell Smith played, I think, about 35% of the snaps on Sunday, and this is the second game back since that incident. So it looks like the Bears coaching staff might be concerned about Tyreek too, and they might be ramping Terrell up.
They also have Reddy Stewart, I think they brought up too,
and Reddy Stewart. So the Bears have been deep at that defensive back position, and Tyreek should not feel like that's his job. He better get his shit together and continue. Second round pick, and I think that's the only reason he's getting more snaps, because he's getting the benefit of that draft status. I agree. Let's see, what do we got here, guys?
For Dan. There's a question for Dan.
Dan, do you think Torrey Taylor is a disappointment?
No, he had that one miserable punt. What was it, last week? But that's it. He's been phenomenal.
Yeah, he might be the best draft pick of the season.
Yeah, it's not like he's been Todd Sauerbrunn when we drafted him in the second round.
Aside from Caleb Williams, he's like the best draft pick in the past class.
Torrey did have that excellent game, which was a big part of the reason. I'm forgetting who it was. It was at Soldier Field. He had tremendous punts.
Was that the Rams game?
Yeah, that was the Rams game. And we run that game in large part because of Torrey's punts.
He pinned them so many times. They go 5 times he pinned them deep.
But I will say that there are probably a half dozen punters in this league who are at that Tory Taylor level or beyond. I have, turn on a Monday Night Football game and there's a fucking punter there, who is doing what Tory Taylor does and maybe is slightly better. So was he worth a fourth rounder? I don't know.
Corliss Waitman was the guy we had in camp that does a pretty good job.
Yeah, that guy was really
What
good.
is he on, the Ravens or Steelers? He's on the Steelers, I think.
I think it's the Steelers, yeah. Bellissimo says Austin Booker has been really good too, just not showing up a ton on the stats. He's close, though. Yeah, he needs to unlock that sack count and become our Mark Anderson from the great 20-something season.
06.
I mean, people in the chat room are saying he's not that special, but the Rams game, man, he was like phenomenal.
He was. Yeah. And he's still a rookie, so let's give him some time, though.
But I mean, was he worth a fourth-round pick? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still debating that. Laz is
well, a
saying
lot of times too, he's trying to coffin corner it.
Yeah.
He's taking yards off of it because he's trying to drop them back on field position, as opposed to like, okay, we need a 68-yard punt, which he's capable of. He's
Laz would rather have Patrick O'Donnell back.
Oh no,
no,
that guy we had last year, the last 2 years, was terrible.
Trent Gill.
Oh my God,
Trenton Gill. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I want to ask everybody watching live on YouTube to do us a little favor.
Okay, guys and girls, if you like what you see, give us a like, press the bell, and subscribe. Thank you, sweetie pies.
Yeah, just do that for us. Make Tooch happy, Dan happy, and me. I don't give a fuck. All right, guys, let's see. What time is it? You want to start talking about some pop culture, and then we'll bring up Bears every now and then?
I did. I saw Horizon American Saga Chapter 1. It's like the Kevin Costner Western.
Yeah, how is that?
You know what I'm talking about? Anybody?
It was a big theatrical release.
It was a huge bust, and he put up a lot of his own money for it.
Right.
So let me just say, like, I tried to watch it the first time. I was like, I don't know if I like this. And then my wife was like, I want to check this out, just because she loves Westerns. My wife and I both like Westerns. And I was like, I started to look at it a different way. I was like, if you ever played like Red Dead Redemption, it's like an open world video game. And if you look at it as like you're peeking into this open world, there's like a bunch of different stories going on. They're all kind of interrelated, and you kind of float from place to place in the movie. Then I started to like it. I'm like, okay, I get this. Okay, here's this story over here. You kind of look into each little story and stuff. And I mean, Kevin Costner's just one little tiny part of the whole movie, his character, and there's a bunch of different stories. They're all kind of converging. I know there's supposed to be 3 more 3-hour movies, and it might have been better if it was a TV show like Yellowstone, like, when he worked on Yellowstone. It might have been better if it was, half-hour episodes or something, might be a little easier to follow. But I think if you're to watch it, you think of it as this open world and you're peeking into, all the different little stories, you might enjoy it.
I don't like Yellowstone. I think it's like Days of Our Lives just masked as a Western.
Sure.
I do like Kevin Costner, and I would be open to watching. I'm not a big Western guy, but I do like Kevin Costner for some reason. So I could see myself watching this. The length time, the runtime doesn't really necessarily bother me. Like I have a good attention span, so I could maybe watch this. I hope it's not the who's sleeping with who horse shit that's on Yellowstone. Who's fucking? Who's gaming?
Not at all. But
you
can't like look at it like a regular movie, which is like kind of like don't go into it thinking it's like a movie where you can follow along like a traditional Hollywood script or whatever. It really is not like that at all. It's kind of like you go here, you watch a little chapter it's very choppy, D. Starren. But I mean, if you think of it, you're like peeking into this open world. The American West, the settlers are heading west. Wagon trains and fighting with the Indians, and the Civil War veterans are lurking around. There's gold rush and gunfighters and stuff. You kind of like the founding of certain towns and the people surveying for the railroad. You kind of peek into all these different things. You'll kind of, I think you'll have an appreciation for it. It's gorgeously shot. The score is beautiful too.
But what you're describing is sort of like Megalopolis too. Like
okay.
In the sense that it kind of meanders and maybe is the script is all over the place in some aspects, but I still like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely a different film, I know, but just the criticisms I've hear other people say are kind of what you were saying there about the Costner film.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people will say, "Oh, it's so disjointed. There's too many characters, blah 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 blah." But you can't think of it that way because it is like if you were part of this open world video game. You go around like there's a little mission over here and a little mission over there and whatnot. You kind of will be a little bit more accepting of the film.
I watched a film that on paper sounded great that my wife really likes.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, we've known each other, goddamn, almost 30 years now. And we like the same kind of shit. So, and she's like, oh, Patrick Stewart's in it. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not a big Star Trek guy, but I like Patrick Stewart as an individual. So I thought, okay, I'll watch this. It was called Green Room. But the ending was so flat
the
to me.
Rock band, right?
Yeah, but the ending was so flat and anticlimactic that it just ruined the whole film for me. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but
it started out good though.
Yeah, just the ending was flat as hell. It was like watching a fucking Bears game with Getsy as the coach. Where's the
OC? Yeah. Although you haven't seen Horizon, right?
No. Now, I wanted to ask you a question about that. Is that directed by the same guy that did Yellowstone, who's a really hot commodity now in Hollywood?
I thought it's directed by Kevin Costner.
Okay, so, but the guy in Yellowstone that he worked with Costner,
Taylor Sheridan?
That's him. Is he involved in that project now?
I don't know.
He's becoming a big mogul now.
I think he is involved in some way, but like I was telling Dan, you have to kind of think of it as this open world. You kind of peek into these stories.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you go into it like a normal movie, like I did in the first go round, I was like, I don't like this. I can't follow along. Then I watched it a second time, and I was like, okay, you just have to peek into these different stories, and then you'll enjoy it a little more.
Well, it's funny that you used the word peep because last night I stayed up to watch a movie called Peeping Tom from 1960. Have you guys ever heard of it?
No.
I thought maybe Tooch was because he likes
peeping.
Yeah, you like peeping, being in the porn business. But it's a fascinating film. It was released in 1960, about a month or two before Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. It was made in Britain and released there first, and the critics and censors all hated it. They wanted to ban it and so forth. And it's the story of this guy who has a fixation with as a peeping Tom. He photographs whores, follows them into their bedroom and so forth, and then he murders them. And the movie displays why he has this fixation, why he has this abnormality, this psychosis. And it's a fascinating movie. It's really well directed with big, bright, saturated Technicolor. And so the look is mesmerizing. And Martin Scorsese was the one that kind of led the rediscovery of the film, saying everybody had this wrong. This is a fucking masterpiece. You should see it. And critics now love it. Yeah, check it out. It's called Peeping Tom. I saw it on TCM.
It reminds me of there was a movie, I think it was called Private Parts, but not the Howard Stern movie.
Yeah, okay.
it was a different movie with the same name. I think it was before the Howard Stern movie.
All right.
But a guy is like a peeping Tom. He had this blow up doll. He lived in this crazy like apartment building where he would peep through at other tenants and stuff. Does that ring a bell?
It doesn't, man. I'm doing a quick Google search here. Private Parts was 1997, so you're saying it was before then. Oh, wait a minute. I just found one. 1972. And young Cheryl moves into her estranged aunt Martha's rundown King Edward. One of its offbeat residents, disturbed photographer George, takes special interest in her. Cheryl begins suspecting that the resident is murdered. I think it's it too, as I'm watching the clip here. Oh, okay. I'm going to put that one on the list. This is going to be Peeping Tom voyeuristic week for Aldo at the movies. Yeah, I would think that Dan is a big fan of films that are voyeuristic. I don't know why, Dan, you're not a pervert by any means, but I don't know, just knowing you, have you seen any movies that have that as a theme that you like?
The only thing that popped in my head immediately was that one with Sharon Stone and William Baldwin called Sliver.
Yes.
She was masturbating in the tub.
Yes, he's got like 17 monitors in his room, and he's monitoring the people in this whole apartment building or something.
That's
like
a good one, Dan. Yeah.
That's definitely a good one.
A movie off topic, but I just want to see if you all had seen it, that I had never even heard of. I mean, and again, I know this is 30 years ago, but I was already, as a young kid, really into movies, and going to theaters and stuff. So 1992, Joe Pesci is the lead with Barbara Hershey, and Pesci's not the guy from Goodfellas or Casino. He's not the tough guy. He's kind of in between. He takes photos, and he sort of like hangs out with the mafia, hangs out with the police. He's a freelance photographer. It's called The Public Eye. I've never heard of it.
I don't know this one. Yeah.
It was decent.
I didn't see it, but I remember when it was released and hearing about it. Public Eye. I'm looking it up on IMDb now to see what they say and what kind of ratings. Public Eye. Jeez, man, that's a great name from the past. Let's see. What
film?
What year around did you say?
1992.
Okay, so
Joe Pesci and Barbara Hershey.
I see it here. This is what they say. In the early 40s, an infamous New York paparazzi gets an assignment from a club owner to do a background research on a mysterious gangster, which leads him down a very dangerous path. And a great poster with Pesci behind one of those old cameras with the flash bulbs. This looks like a movie I am interested in watching. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's your neo-noir kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Richard Schiff is in it. He was one of the main characters in The West Wing. If people love that, there's actually a character named or credited as Puerto Rican woman. So, and she looks pretty hot. So I will definitely put that on the list. Public Eye. My list keeps growing.
I revisited. I just for some reason was into Pesci, a movie that I did see in like 91 that I did enjoy at the time. Watched it again the same night as that one, and was kind of, it was what it was, but it was called The Super, where he's the superintendent of
Pesci.
Yeah. In like 91, I enjoyed that, but again, I'm 11 years old watching that, and it's a little bit too campy now. And but yeah, I watched both of those over the weekend.
It's funny when I hear the word "the super" I keep thinking of my days back in New York when I was 5-6 years old. We had to live with my grandmother for a while my mom was going through marital difficulties and stuff. And the guy who was responsible for repairs in the apartment building, he was referred to as the super.
That's what Pesci was in that film.
Okay. Yeah. So he was always hanging around in the apartment. And years later, my older brother told me, he was fucking our grandmother.
Wow.
What? I had no idea.
Well, in The Super, the guy, what was his name on Moonstruck? Vincent Gardenia?
Yeah, Vincent Gardenia, yes.
Vincent Gardenia is his dad in it.
Okay.
And he's like, all right, I'm going to leave you all these properties so you'll be wealthy. But you can't do any repairs on them. He's like, these tenants are like rats. You give them one thing, they want more, and blah, 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 blah. But so he gets in trouble with the town because he's not keeping the shit up to code. So they make him become a tenant in his own building. It's like a house arrest deal, but like, you'll see what the other people are going through if you have to live there.
Yeah.
So, and of course he becomes a better person and stuff, but most of it is just like, oh, he's a little white guy, a little Italian guy. Put him in some stereotypical racially tense situations.
Right.
Like put him on a basketball court and make him dance to rap music. So some of it's a little dated. But the other one I did like more, the neo-noir one.
What do you think about what Stephen Me just put up? I'm sure both of you guys have seen this.
Yeah, I saw it at the theater in like 2003, maybe.
1 hour photo with Robin Williams. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. There's a guy without a family. He's
right.
Sad, depressed. It's a tough movie in some ways, but
Yes.
he was a very underrated actor in a lot of ways.
As a dramatic actor, very, very underrated.
Yeah.
Awakenings.
With De Niro.
Yeah, fucking fantastic. Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. Yep.
Fucking fantastic.
The one with Pacino. The Fisher King was good with Jeff Bridges.
Fisher King.
Yep.
But the one with Pacino called Insomnia.
He won for Fisher King. He won a Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, I don't know.
Robin Williams.
He was the killer in Insomnia. Where they're in Alaska, and it's during that period where it's always daylight.
Oh, great film! Yeah. And I think who directed that? Isn't that a Nolan picture? A Chris Nolan picture?
Honestly, I don't remember.
I think so, Aldo.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's his first one. Insomnia.
Williams' character is revealed halfway into the movie, just methodically directed with great atmosphere and great supporting performances. That's a great movie to watch, Insomnia.
They recently Barrow, Alaska, started their month of darkness.
Okay.
In the news the other day, there's a movie, 30 Days of Night, really good horror movie.
I didn't like that one.
Oh, really?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I like Josh Hartnett, but I just didn't like that film for some reason.
Danny Houston is the bad guy in that one.
Good actor.
He's in Horizon with Kevin. And that's another thing about that movie is everybody is in it, man. It's got a cast of 100. Just like it's like remember the movie? It's a mad world where it's
oh yeah,
everybody was in that. It's like
yes,
every single actor. Yeah. But there's a ton of actors in it, man.
Yeah.
I thought Pacino was great in The Irishman. I thought he was really good in The Irishman.
Excellent.
I have to disagree with you there, Steve.
Oh, really?
With Steve Mee, he says Pacino's last good movie was Insomnia. He's done a couple of other ones since then.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he was supporting, but still, I liked him as the agent.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a photograph of him because he's now in his either
84.
84. Look at that, and he is walking around like the fucking super that was fucking my grandmother. Big beard, hunched over and stuff, long trench coat and stuff. He's getting up there. I can't believe he's got a 2 or 3 year old child. That's amazing.
Yeah, De Niro does too, right?
De Niro does too. That's right.
Yeah.
Those guys, man.
Yeah.
I was watching Once
Cliff
Upon a Time
right, man.
What was that? What did you say?
That was where I first saw Robin Williams as Mork from Ork.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, what a fucking talent!
He was on Happy Days, and then they had the spinoff, right?
That's right.
It's like Happy Days had an alien.
That's right. Yeah, I think they jumped
really
the shark.
Running out of ideas. Also.
Yeah, I think they jumped the shark before they jumped the shark. You know what I mean? Well, I was going to say, I caught up with Once Upon a Time in America recently. I didn't see the whole thing because it's 3 hours long, but watching the first half, it's so fucking good.
James Woods, Robert De Niro.
Noodles and
Yep, Sergio Leone movie, beautifully directed. The score by Ennio
Jennifer
Morricone.
Connelly.
Jennifer Connelly. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Elizabeth McGovern plays her as an older character. It's just so wonderful. And you gotta watch the director's cut, which is close to 4 hours, because Paramount, which owned the distribution rights here in the United States, didn't like the 4 hour length.
Yeah, that one.
You got it. It almost doesn't make sense the way they cut it. There's the spoiler alert. There's a smile by De Niro at the end that reveals stuff that in the 2 hour version was cut out. So you gotta, in order to understand what Sergio Leone was trying to get across in a movie, you gotta see the 4 hour version.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Trust me.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Look at that. Dan and I finally agreeing on a movie.
We agree on a lot of movies.
That's true. That's true. There was something with Tarantino that I was watching earlier today, Dan, that made me think of you and your beautiful wife, Nikki. And it's the script written by Tarantino. He did not direct. Tony Scott directed it. And it's
True Romance?
True Romance.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
The beginning of the beginning of that movie reminded me a lot, or just triggered the memory of seeing you and Nikki at your wedding, getting married at City Hall. There's a scene where Arquette and Slater are walking from City Hall. They're quick marriage and stuff. They're in love, and that feeling that I got in watching those scenes just reminded me of the wedding that I attended with you and your wife in Cleveland. And there's other similarities in the movie that I think you and Nikki should watch that and see if you get.
Oh, we saw it together way back in the day.
Oh, okay. So,
both of us saw it before we met each other. Again, she and I met in 1997, so we had both already seen it a handful of times.
Well,
we definitely watched it together too.
And one of the things that made me think of it was in the movie, he's in a movie theater watching a triple kung fu movie. Not that you like kung fu movies, Dan.
But I would definitely go watch 3 movies at the theater.
Exactly. And so he's watching this, and then she comes down and she sits next to him. They start a conversation. He takes her to her job. He works in a comic book store, and they strike this great chemistry going, and they fall in love. They get married the next day. It felt a lot like Nikki and Dan.
I didn't have to kill Gary Oldman, though. Great scene with Gary Oldman.
Oh my gosh. A great
and
scene.
And of course, the Dennis Hopper thing with Christopher Walken.
When I was in college, we studied that in a script writing class. We studied that scene where Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper are face to face, and Dennis Hopper is saying, "You know about Sicilians, right? Guys are the N-word of Europeans because the Moors, whatever it is,
They did so much fucking of Sicilian women to change the bloodline forever."
Thank you. Well said. Perfectly said. And that we studied that scene because the way Tarantino scripted that was so perfect, man. It was really great. And of course, Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper in a scene together. Beautiful stuff.
If you watch the
one with kept the watch in his ass the whole time.
Oh, that's a Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
Yeah. If you watch the unrated version, if you get a chance to watch the unrated version of True Romance, not just the rated R theatrical cut.
Oh, okay.
The scene with James Gandolfini and Patricia Arquette is so much more intense.
Oh, I don't know if I can take it then.
Yeah, like for instance, in the R version, she shoots him like 1 time. She shoots him like 7 times in the unrated cut, and I think that's my favorite part of the whole movie is her standing up to Gandolfini and killing him. I think that's it's intense as hell, man.
Yes, but before that happens, for 5 minutes, I mean, he is beating the fuck out of her. I mean, gruesome. I was having a problem with that. I was like, okay, maybe they could have lessened that a little bit. I hate to. Maybe it's because I'm 66 years old and I'm, the whole beating up on a woman. But yeah, when she gets retribution, that was sweet. So if you're telling me there's more of that, then I will watch.
She shoots him more times, and it's just more violent and it's more intense. But the same thing of what you were just saying there in terms of. I don't know. It's uncomfortable to see the woman getting pummeled. Mm-hmm. That's the way I felt. Like Nikki and I were talking about this like 2 days ago. That Danny Glover film with Whoopi Goldberg, The Color Purple.
Yes.
I don't care if she survives, and I can't watch this woman just get the shit beaten out of her for like 2 hours before. I don't like that film. It makes me feel horrible watching it.
Yeah, I watched it in the theater, loved it, but yeah, it's a movie I have no interest in watching again because of some of those tough scenes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not a good film or a good book, but I just can't watch it.
Now, Dan, I do know something about you. You have never seen the movie Gladiator, and Gladiator.
No, I saw Gladiator. I don't like Gladiator. I saw it.
Oh, okay.
It had Joaquin Phoenix, whom I don't like.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe's been in some movies that I do like, but overall, I'm not a big fan of his either. But yeah, I really hate Joaquin Phoenix, and I just didn't like the movie. My dad, when I was a kid, made me watch Spartacus. I'm just not into those kind of films.
Are we talking about Joaquin?
The Gladiator film.
Gladiator. They had to. he didn't want to do the film, or who wanted to leave in the middle or during the filming.
Just as they were starting to film, he said, "I can't do this."
Yeah.
Well, he said, "I can't do this," and Ridley Scott, the director, said, "What are you talking about?" And Russell Crowe had to tell him, "Fucking toughen up, dude. You got a great movie here."
Well, why did he not want to do it? He didn't want to play a bad guy.
He had a panic attack, is what it was. I that's what I figured happened there. Yeah,
that's the way Brad Pitt was on Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah,
he was like, it was raining. He was in England. He was going through a breakup. All these things. He said he begged his agent, like, get me out of this fucking movie. I don't care if it costs me points. I don't care if it costs me jobs. He was in England for like 8 months and it rained every day. He said it was just awful. The worst experience of his life. And yeah, he begged to get out of it, but obviously he stayed on. And it's a good film. Good movie.
It is a very good movie. Underappreciated, in my opinion. Robbie is informing us that Severance on Apple TV, the new season is coming up. Did you guys see season 1?
No.
Please watch that.
Dexter prequel's coming on next month.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the previews for that.
Be good.
But Severance season 1 is, I think, the type of kind of Kafka-esque, feeling where you're feeling trapped in and stuff. Season 1 was brilliant, and can't wait for season 2. Unfortunately, when they take too long for season 2, you kind of get that feeling. I don't know, I'm going to like it as much. So I'm going to push myself to watch season 2 because season 1 was great. But I wish they would have had it done, months ago or a year ago at least. Please watch season 1.
Or go ahead, Danny.
No, go ahead, John.
The Silo started season 2. Season 2 Silo started.
Okay, I didn't know that. Season 1 was fantastic.
Yeah, the first episode has a cameo by Steve Zahn.
Steve Zimmerman's in it?
Steve Zimmerman.
He would be good in anything with those big old eyes of his.
Like, how did he get the name Steven Zimmerman? Was that from Aldo christened him that? Or
No. I tried to give him nicknames and he threatened to kill me. So
was it Phil that gave him the
nickname? It might have been.
I think
probably.
So.
Yeah, Phil was good at giving out nicknames. Yeah. Stephen Me is reminding us of the rape scene in Once Upon a Time in America. Elizabeth McGovern was George's in that movie. James Lewis was great too.
Maybe gorgeous.
Yeah. She was gorgeous. There's no doubt about it. But that rape scene where the De Niro character, Knuckles, rapes her because he has this fixation with her, has had since they were children. Yeah. Yep. And now he's at a point, he takes her out to dinner. He rents out an entire restaurant and the music, the Morricone music, the violins. He's got a whole orchestra there. And it's just the two of them, despite the fact there are 100 seats in this restaurant. And then after dinner, it becomes clear that she doesn't feel for him the way that he feels for her. So he just rapes the shit out of her. And it's a tough fucking scene. Tough scene to watch. What about Assault with Jodie Foster? That has to be one of the toughest rape scenes to sit through. You ever see that one, Dan?
It was called Assault?
Yeah, it's called Assault with Kelly McGinnis. She plays Jodie Foster.
Oh, wasn't that the Accused?
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
This from '88, right? This the one you're talking about? Yeah, good film. Good film for sure.
Excellent film, man. That rape scene is, boy. I mean, that's the center of that movie, and it's talked about in the courtroom scenes, and so there's these flashbacks. It's tough to sit through. Definitely.
That Chris Sarandon rape scene in Lipstick with the Hemingway lady, the one that killed herself. Not was it Margot? Is that her name?
Yeah. Did she kill herself?
I believe so.
Oh wow. I think I told you the story because you brought up that movie once before. I went with my girlfriend. I was, 18, 19 at the time. We went to the theater to watch it. And when he's raping her and he's licking her, like he's licking her leg all the way up to her vagina area and so forth, my girlfriend says, "Oh, that fucker." She was getting turned on. My girlfriend was. It's like, I looked at her and said, "Guess what I'm going to do see it tonight." So, yeah, good movie. Lipstick was a good movie. I didn't know that Hemingway committed suicide. Wow.
The older one, Mariel's still with us.
Right.
I think it was Margot was her name.
Margot, you're right. Famous fashion model who turned a Hollywood actress. Who was it that was in Star 80, the movie about the Playboy?
That was her sister Mariel.
Okay, the younger one. Okay.
Yeah. And she was the one that was in that movie where she's an Olympian and has that scene with her legs out.
Oh my gosh.
What was that called again? You know the one I'm talking about,
Oh
right?
yeah, I do. That scene or a photograph of that scene where she did that split got me in so much trouble because my first wife was a gymnast. And so I thought she was going to like the fact that this Hemingway girl was showing incredible flexibility. And so in Playboy, she did that split naked. So when I showed the photograph to my then first wife, she got really fucking jealous and angry at me. I can't believe you're showing me this picture. And what are you talking about? You're a gymnast. This is beautiful. What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. The beginning of the end. When she discovered my Playboy collection.
Well, could I say something? I don't want to bring this is fun, but I don't want to bring things down. But if I could just have just a couple of minutes.
Sure.
The beginning of the end, I think for me, unfortunately, on the podcast is here, and I hate it. I'm gonna miss it so much. And like I told you earlier, I feel like I'm letting you down. I feel like I'm letting Tooch down.
What happened?
My 911 shift is becoming a 12-hour deal from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Oh shit!
So consequently, I thought I was going to try to come to my radio gig on days that it conflicted earlier, and still do the same stuff, But they, they didn't authenticate that as an option. So my time's getting cut at radio, and when I'm here, I'm just going to be constantly working to catch up from the days I'm missing. So
do we have to switch to another day?
I don't mean the equipment's here at the radio station. Like the professional equipment I have is here. Like I don't have the setup at the house. And like I said, I'm stuck at 911. I'm like 6 years away from retirement. So I have to stay.
Yep.
And they're going to they're cutting my time. Studio? I don't have anything at the house, right?
What does he need at the house, Aldo?
You have
a laptop and a microphone.
I don't have a mixer or a mic.
Hold on a second.
I could send him my old mic. I have a really good one.
And I got 2 mixers, so that's easy. We could take care of that, Dan. The thing is, do you have a computer at home?
Marissa took I had a MacBook. She took it. So.
Yeah,
right.
All I have now is my phone, my iPad, and an iPhone. So
Anthony uses an iPad.
Yeah, and I know
my iPad is from like 2015. It's slow as shit. So.
Well, we'll do some tests. We could do your phone. I know we've used your phone in the past and stuff.
Yeah, I've got good internet. I've got 500 megabytes per second at home.
There you go.
So, but I don't know. I'm going to miss this there have been, I always think about it. Like, it's not like, there's always been good shows or bad shows. And then I ask.
It's got to be a barfly who's got an extra laptop.
Well, I'll ask Nikki, I'll be like, man, I wonder if I've just told the same sex stories over and over. And it's just like the time is come, I've said that a few times. I'm like, I wonder if people are just bored of hearing my shtick. And like, I would have never known that when I was saying that, like, man, in a couple of weeks, you really are going to be done. I was really worried. If there's a bad show, I usually blame myself, is what I'm saying. Like, I'll be like, it just wasn't good tonight. And so that's what I'm saying is I was saying, ironically, I was like, maybe just the run is come to an end. Like I've told the same stories and blah, blah, blah. And then here we are now, it's possibly forcibly coming to an end. And ironically, again, I don't like that now. So.
Yeah, well, trust me, when you're doing shows, you're going to say the same story,
I probably told the same story about Aldo and I are old, man. We keep telling the same stories. So it's all we got.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to Howard Stern for many years. I can't tell you how many times he would say the same story. The thing is that it's interesting. If he's sharing the story over again, it's because it's interesting or funny or what have you. And we always have new things to talk about. Another Bears loss.
Well, you mentioned
this way now.
You mentioned Happy Days earlier. Like I was lamenting. I was like, I wonder if the show is now like Happy Days when Richie's gone and like Joni's gone and Chachi's gone, and it's just like Fonzie and Mr. and Mrs. C, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like season 19. Sometimes I would worry about that, thinking I'm not bringing enough to the table.
I would,
but now that it's
that.
being taken away as a result of stuff, I'm really down over it. I truly am, and all these hours we've spent together are really meaningful to me. And I'm not trying to blow smoke. I'm gonna miss it.
Steve Me says it's not time for Dan to go back to this planet yet. We need him for his Bears knowledge and takes.
The home planet is calling him back.
Yeah. Last says you haven't jumped the shark yet. No.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yep.
Cliff says if Fonzie started having sex with Mrs. C, that show could have gone on for years. That's what we need, Dan.
Yeah.
It's for you to have sex with my wife or something.
No, God. Your wife would kick my ass. Or even suggesting. She would.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
TV shows back then, the husband and wife slept in twin beds apart from each other back then, remember?
Oh, yes.
They couldn't show them sleeping in the same bed.
Right.
Oh,
there goes your green screen. The green screen fell. It looks like, there you go. It's better now. But not only that, Tooch, but there was a period of time where the censors didn't allow, if the woman was on the bed or the man was on the bed, the other character had to have at least 1 foot on the floor. And so, in other words, they both couldn't be in the bed together. One character had to have a foot on the floor. The fucking censors back then.
Pregnant was called In the Family Way.
Yes. And, I hate to say this, again, I don't get political, but we might be facing those same kind of restrictions in our movies and TV shows, but hopefully not. But we'll talk about other things.
But hopefully I got one more show, I guess, next week, and that might be the.
No, we won't let that happen. We're going to get a petition going.
I did see another movie. I don't know if you guys saw it. Actually, I thought it was really good. It's called Alpha. You know this one? It's like they're cavemen and they're hunting
I haven't seen
buffalo. You have to see it. It's really good. It's like Cody Smith McPhee was really good in Power of the Dog. He was younger. This is a couple years back. And
2018, it says here.
It wasn't too far long ago. It's really good. And he and his dad like lets him go on the hunt with them. And they're hunting. He gets tangled up with one of the boars or buffalo, whatever they're hunting, and thrown over a cliff. He lands down on a ledge. They all think he's dead. They leave him. He's got to fend for himself. He's got a broken ankle. And he's hunted by wolves, and he wounds one wolf, and he feels sorry for it, and heals it, takes it with him, and they kind of have this hero's journey where they travel back. They come to an understanding, I'll feed you if you don't kill me, and I won't kill you. Kind of understanding. It's like the beginning of the domestication of dogs. So
interesting.
It's really good, man.
Did you see it with your kids?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. It sounds like the kind of movie that kids would love.
Yep. And my wife was like, I never saw it. She was like, oh, it's really good. You'll like it. So we watched it.
I got one more for you, then I gotta go.
Okay.
I watched a movie that I remember when it came out, and I just missed it, where it's been, more than a decade now. But it's based on a true story where James Franco is walking around caves and shit and falls and has to cut off his own arm to get out of it.
Oh, yeah. I remember that movie. What's it called?
Yeah, I don't know the name of it. I remember that one, though.
Yeah.
127 hours, I think.
Yeah, that's it. 124 hours or 27, whatever.
Yeah, I had never watched that until last night. It's just kind of just watching him have to break his own arm and stuff like that. I'm I was cringing watching it.
Yeah, and Alpha, he has to break his own ankle. Re-break it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, 127 hours. You were right, Dan. Biographical, psychological, survival drama, produced and directed by Danny. Based on a true story. James Franco and Kate Mara, who, by the way, I got the hots for. My God, she was. What was she?
That's the Giants, New York Giants family owner.
Yeah, that's
Rooney Mara and Kate Mara.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she comes from money.
What was that movie?
She was in the Netflix show with Spacey, the political drama. What was that called? I forgot what it's called.
House of Cards.
House of Cards. Yeah.
The girl who played with fire, was that the Kick the Hornet's Nest? All those ones. What was that one?
Yeah.
He was in that one with Daniel Craig.
The girl with the dragon tattoo.
The girl with the dragon tattoo. Thank you.
She in that?
The Rooney
Mara.
Yeah,
Rooney Mara's in it with Daniel Craig.
Yes. Okay, I get it. Man, I didn't know that they were sisters, and I didn't know they were part of the Mara family. I got to get my shit together.
I didn't know they were connected
girl
to
with
the
the dragon tattoo. Yep.
Yeah, good movie. But I like the European version first, the better. The gosh, I forgot the name of the director, but then it was remade here in the United States by David Fincher, and he did a really nice job with the materials. The Source is a great it's a great book. I read it years ago. Kiss of the what is it? The girl with the
girl Drill the Dragon Tattoo. Yeah,
right.
Pretty good book. Yeah. I think I only read that one. There's like 2 or 3 other books.
Yeah, I remember buying from my mom the 3 or 4 books, but I read the first one, but not the other ones. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Thank you, Stephen.
Yep.
Yeah,
well, guys,
so,
I gotta go. I gotta head over to work.
All right, Danny, cheer up.
So, hey, Dan, for your final show, not that it's going to be your final show, but next week we should do something special for you. Can you bring your wife on next week?
I don't know what her work schedule is.
Okay, well, if not, I'll find an actress to portray her.
But yeah, she loves coming on. So if for some reason she's available, like she loves being interacting with you all. And like I said, that one week for like 10 seconds, she was like, because she doesn't know the other Dan.
Mm-hmm.
She was just like, God, is he calling me a whore? And I vouched for Dan. And I was like, no, Dan's a really nice guy. And she's like, oh, okay. So she's not sensitive about anything like that. Just that one thing. And like I said, I vouched for Dan, and she was like, oh, okay. But she took that. That's the only thing she took personally.
Come on. This might tempt Nikki a little bit to come on.
If she's available, she would be on. Yeah, she has no.
I think that one picture, just send it to her, and she will definitely be on because she likes that picture.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, we love you. We'll talk to you soon. Okay,
love you, buddy. Yep.
All right, guys. I'm sorry. Like I said, that this is happening. I truly am.
Don't be sorry, man. We'll take care of it somehow, some way.
Okay.
Yep, we'll
Thank
figure
you.
it out.
Have a good night.
I still have hope that will all work out and that Dan can do the show weekly.
Got the schedule, Aldo.
Look at that schedule. They're not going to win another game, is my prediction. What do you think?
Well, I mean, what is it? We are at home against the Vikings. I actually do think they have a chance to win this one. Just get some kind of, last fight, or they're angry after the Packers game, and I think they have a chance to beat the Vikings. But I think after that, it's going to be tough. I mean, the Lions are going to blow us out. They've been blowing teams out. They've been hanging 50 burgers on people. So,
they sure have.
Yeah.
I just think that there is a mood at Hallis Hall. There is a mood among the players that is not going to be rectified until Eberflus is fired. I feel strongly about that. And I think that the bad luck is
think
just
that they would want to lose to get rid of him. Because I certainly think it's possible.
Yeah, I think subconsciously, it's like the how Dan always talks about the referees and officials helping the Chiefs, and that they don't do it on purpose, but it's kind of subconsciously this unconscious bias that they have against.
And it's like they hate the Bears too. The officials. It never goes our way.
Yes, you're so fucking right. I mean, you know what? In this Packers game this last week, I thought in the first half that they were actually calling the game favorably for the Bears, but they were just setting us up for the end.
Setting us up for the big loss.
It's like the officials went over to the Packers and said, "Yeah, you can leverage and jump on and annihilate the center. Don't worry about it. We won't call it. Whatever you got to do to win this game." Yeah, it's pretty fucking sad.
I mean, the Seahawks just went into San Francisco and beat the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the 49ers are beatable.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point, John. That of all of these games, I think that the biggest chance we have to win the game might be that we with that 10-day rest going to San Francisco and beating the 49ers. I do believe
that or next weekend against the Vikings. I think if they lose against the Vikings, it's going to be a tough sledding, and they may steal one from somebody down in that last half. But I mean, I don't. They're not getting to the playoffs. They're not getting to 500 or over 500.
Nope. It's not going to happen. I apologize, Bears fans. I just don't think it's going to happen. 5-2 says Ant Mass the rest of the way. Let's fucking go.
I love the enthusiasm, though.
You know what? I wish I was still that way, but I'm feeling jaded right now, and I hope I can get out of this funk. But I'm feeling really jaded, and I watch a lot of Eberflus press conference, and it's starting to be so fucking annoying. Yes, exactly, exactly. Why is the question? I just want to provide some material for people to react to, and it's a good way to be informed as to what's happening on the team. But yeah, I'm starting to think of it. This is a waste of fucking time. What am I doing with my last few years on the planet Earth before I'm sent to hell? Planet hell.
I mean, the whole Eberflus era has just been torturesome, torturous. It's just been awful. I mean, it's like it's as bad as the Trestman era.
It really is.
It
really is.
If Nagy didn't, I mean, Nagy at least had 2018 where we were 12. He inherited that team from John Fox, but at least we had that one season. Unfortunately, there was still the double doink Bears. That loss was just almost as bad as the Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
The Hail Mary killed the team, and then they had the big letdown against the Patriots. And then this week they kind of let's get ourselves together. We got Thomas Brown's calling some plays, and to lose that way, oh
my gosh!
Horrible.
And D. Starren reminds us that the Bears did beat the Vikings last year 12-10. But that's the thing. Do you think this defense is playing as well as they were last year when they won that game 12-10? I don't think they're anywhere near as good. I think they can be, but I think the Billings injury and Jaquan Brisker and the mojo on the team is not good.
Montez Sweat isn't playing like he did last year.
Hopefully
he's probably injured a little bit.
Yeah, I think that shin is still bothering him. Somebody said that it was like a gash, a really deep gash to his shin. So I don't know. Hopefully it's getting better. But I saw this interview with him after the game, and he sounded really dejected. So
of course, yeah. We got the Lions on the Bears are even going to ruin our Thanksgiving, Aldo.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Are you gonna watch it or are you gonna skip it?
I'll watch it because how am I going to do Bears State of Affairs without watching it?
Well, you'll have like 9 days, 10 days to come up with something. Maybe a Bears State of Affairs where you didn't watch it would be really hilarious. That might be cool.
It's definitely a thought, where you're like, maybe I don't want to have a bad Thanksgiving, but then again, Thanksgiving we always have the games on, in the background, whether it's whatever. But I don't know.
See, I mentioned this to Dan before. We have Thanksgiving at my sister-in-law's, and she hates football, and so she hates to have the game on. And her husband doesn't want to rock the boat, so he doesn't, insist that the game be on. And I'm like, to my wife, I love going over to your sister's house, but if the games aren't on, I'm having a hard time with that. I'm really, really having a hard time.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to watch on my phone, but I'll watch the game here and then join them for Thanksgiving dinner a little later. But
do we still think that Eberflus will last the whole year?
Well, I think that let's put up that schedule again, because here's my thinking. That if they lose poorly to the Vikings this Sunday, there is and to the Lions, and there is a chance
that short week.
Right. There is a chance that after that Thanksgiving Day game that they make a head coaching change so that the head coach has 10 days to prepare for the 49ers. What do you think of that theory?
So let me just are the Lions playing week this Sunday?
I want to say they are.
I mean, would it be something if the Lions have a bye? Like, they're catching the Bears off a bye.
No, that's not going to happen. I don't
know.
think the schedule makers would.
I think they've already had their bye too.
Yeah, they play the 24th against the Colts in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Those red hot Colts.
Yeah.
What do you think about Anthony Richardson? You think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback?
I think it's too early to tell. I mean, he's made some amazing plays, but
yeah.
He does have a coach that could develop a quarterback, though.
That's right.
Steichen did develop Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts also having a really good season this year. He's not. Last year he was injured a lot, but this year's healthy, and the Eagles are red hot.
Yeah, the Eagles are red hot. But it's funny. The Eagles strike me as a team that can go all the way, but also lose in the very first round of the playoffs.
Yep.
T. Starren says the NFL has decided the Bears are losers. It's already predetermined.
It's hard to not think that way.
Really, it really is.
Especially after the calls last week and then the field goal versus the Cardinals. The Bears were penalized. The Packers were not.
Yep. By the way, John, if I was scouring around for like old music to use on a different project that I'm working, I stumbled upon this song. Have you ever heard it?
I see your giant bulge, my shitter you see. Let us indulge in this rectal ecstasy.
I figured you might have heard of it.
That is excellent, though. I'm definitely intrigued.
Well, I can send you the playlist.
It's what is it like? Just like band vinyl, huh?
Band vinyl. You just type in band vinyl on YouTube, and there's a great fucking list of silly songs. Listen to another portion of the song here.
My shitter was made for you, in dreams of love so true. You loop my behind faithfully. My shitter worships thee.
I love that.
How old that song was.
Frankly, it was done in 2023.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like a retro sounding like Wheeler Walker Jr.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I can't tell you, that song reminds me so much of my first girlfriend who loved having anal sex. My shitter was made for you.
Classic. Love my behind so faithfully.
What a great line.
Classic. Yeah. Gotta send that to my buddy Tom. He likes stuff like that.
Yeah. By the way, your weekend sports betting tips partner Sean Higgs was in the chat room.
He was
earlier.
in the chat, huh? I didn't see him. I was kind of doing some rewrites and stuff.
I bet you were.
I was listening in the background and stuff.
He says it sounds like ABBA when they were known as anal.
It did last. It did remind me of like being in the Philippines. There's kind of like the karaoke sound.
It does.
I watched a really cool video though with my girls. I have to teach them kind of like their Filipino heritage and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And we were watching some wonders of a video on YouTube called "Wonders of the Philippines." Man, although you should watch it, it's just really excellent. Of all these like paradise beaches and stuff, a lot like Thailand and Vietnam. Those beaches, with those crazy, mountain islands and just bright blue water, turquoise water, white sand. But definitely should watch all the best places to go in Philippines. But I haven't been here, man. This is great. I gotta tell my wife to take a little cruise over there next time I'm there.
Well, one of the things that my wife and I are doing, because she's officially retired as of a week
wow.
or two ago, yeah. So, she's actually going through kind of an anxious moment trying to determine, how am I going to keep my days busy and so forth. And one of the little projects that we have going is, doing a bucket list of places we'd like to travel to. And so the Philippines, we've been considering.
You have to go when I'm retired there, though.
Yeah, that I
and
told
you could
her
come
that.
and
I told her that
you'll stay with me and my wife and stuff.
Yeah. So, or at the very least, have you, show us around and stuff, and take us to places. That would be outstanding. Steve Me says the Philippines is beautiful. It's like Thailand without the lady boys.
They still got some lady boys, though.
Oh, really? They do.
My wife always talks about the lady boys sometimes. I had one that did my my haircut, beard trim, style, cut, color, all that stuff was lady boy.
Really?
When I was there, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He did a great job, though.
Yeah, I've stumbled on some videos where people in the Philippines and Thailand and so forth are just walking around with their cameras, or places where there's ladies of the night and lady boys and so forth. And what a kind of surreal venture that is. I've heard stories gosh, 20, 30 years ago, I remember having drinks with one of my coworkers, and he was in the Army, and he says that he was in one of these foreign lands, that there was a bar where you would pay the Asian women to put things up their, orifices and stuff. And this was longer than 20, 30 years ago. I was in my late teens and stuff. And so I was just shocked that places like that exist.
Yeah, that, Full Metal Jacket, I think, was filmed in the Philippines.
Right.
With
Miso Honey.
Yeah.
Great scene. What'd you think of that movie?
That's classic.
Yeah, it is.
So good, man.
It is.
Yeah, it's funny because they were around, Platoon and Full Metal Jacket were around the same time, and they couldn't be more polarized. My Kubrick's was out there, and it was very detached.
Yes.
It was like Platoon, it's more intimate.
Very much.
Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it. Platoon was Oliver Stone's part of his Vietnam trilogy. And he basically was the Charlie Sheen character, a guy who volunteered to go to Vietnam because he thought it was his duty and so forth, and then the horrors that he experienced there. Whereas with Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket was much more of a kind of a literary look. All of his final films, the last 4 or 5, were almost like there were books, and you got into the mind of characters and stuff. And the way he shot films was surreal. And
there was more business than where it was like more personal for Platoon. It was like the what was that one general who's like, you have peace on your peace sign and born to kill on your helmet. It's like
that's right.
It's like, what is the meaning of that? Answer me, or you'll be standing tall before the man.
I love it. Great recall.
Yeah.
My favorite Vietnam movie is Coppola's Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, even more detached.
Yes.
That was like a dream rather than a movie.
Oh, so much. I mean, the stories that Coppola was doing all sorts of drugs while he was filming, and that definitely is reflected on what's up on the screen. But it's based on the
screenwriter for that. Milius. John Milius.
John Milius, yes. Yeah. And Michael Herr wrote the narration. John Milius, who went on to be a prolific filmmaker of his own right, wrote the overall script, and it was based on the novel by Joseph Conrad, Heart of Darkness.
Right.
And basically, the main theme is that he, as the Martin Sheen character is going down the river, he is headed more and more to the heart of darkness. We all have in us the capability of doing heinous things, horrible things. And Colonel Kurtz, the Marlon Brando character, knew that was the only way to win a war. You don't fucking, try to be nice when you're trying to kill people. You just got to fucking go in there and kill people and not have any regrets about it. And so the Martin Sheen character was experiencing that all the way along the line. And when he gets to that sampan scene with where he the puppy, they find the puppy there. You know, the people with Martin Sheen kill everybody on the boat, and with the exception of one woman who's still alive, and Martin Sheen just fucking kills her and says, "I told you we shouldn't have stopped." That he was turning into Kurtz, you know, this cold-blooded killer that had to take care of things in order to fulfill the mission.
Yeah, the cast was doing a lot of drugs too. Like Sheen was doing acid, and Dennis Hopper.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I read the diary written by Eleanor Coppola. It was a diary during and she was shooting film too. And there was a 16. She was shooting a 16 millimeter, I think, that was made into a documentary years later. But it was a fascinating look at a filmmaker almost going crazy while he was making this film in the jungle. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. I love talking movies with you, man.
Yeah, you got to check out that Alpha. I think you and Donna would really like it.
I got it written down
it's
here.
Quality, you know, good, something that's good from start to finish. That's, you know, you're not going to be disappointed with.
Yeah,
Apocalypse Now was also in the Philippines. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. It was. Says Steve Me. Alpha and Horizon are the two that you're recommending this week.
Yeah, they did a lot of filming of those war movies in the Philippines just because it was easier for production crews to go down there and, you know, English. A lot of people speak English in the Philippines. You know,
and Marcos was very cooperative with the U.S. Hollywood film studio.
Even the Europeans did a lot of their whatever jungle movies in the Philippines.
Yeah,
Italian cinema, and when they needed a jungle war movie, they filmed in the Philippines.
Bears should play a game in the Philippines. Take over the world.
I would like to go back. You know, my wife and I are.
You had a great time there, although you did get sick over some.
I always get sick with it's the water. You know, it's like,
the bacteria in the water. Yeah. And it's very difficult to access.
Well, it's
filtered water.
You know, you brush your teeth.
Right.
You don't think about it like, oh, I'm just brushing my teeth, you know, or you know, you go somewhere and you have some iced tea, or something, you know, lemonade or fruit punch.
Right. Or the utensils are washed, so you're using a fork that was washed with the water. Yeah. Is there any type of shot that you can take that would help to fight some of the bacteria that's there?
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. I'll have to definitely take something more, you know. Don't drink the water.
Don't drink the water. That's exactly the easy one.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's hard though. I mean,
it's all over the place.
A lot of it was getting there. Is like it takes like, you know, a day and a half of travel to get there.
Wow,
39 hours where I was awake totally, just, you know, trying to get there.
So Chicago to L.A.
I went for my wife and I. We woke up at 6 a.m. and then we packed from 6 a.m. to noon, and then noon we drove to Naperville. My brother drove us to the airport. It was a midnight flight.
Okay.
You know, so drove to Naperville. That's like 6 p.m. I got there and had dinner with my brother, and he drove us to the airport about 9, and that was a midnight flight. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I'm like, I'll just sleep on the plane. It's super hard to. So Chicago to Taipei, Taiwan, and then you know, I couldn't. It's hard to sleep. That's a 16-hour flight, you know. And then Taiwan, we had a 9-hour layover, so you're in the airport for 9 hours.
Wow.
And then Taipei to Manila, that's like 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that little 4 hours, I slept, like just passed out for like 2 hours. I was just snoring, and then the stewardess like shook me awake, you know, and my wife was like, "You were really snoring." I was like, I didn't know, man. I was knocked out, man.
Yeah, right.
It's like, well, we're here, we're landing, so you know, but and then, you know, driving from Manila to the suburbs, just 25 kilometers, took 4 hours.
Oh, Jesus!
Because Manila's
it's the traffic.
Traffic. It's a city of 20 million.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, imagine a city of 20. We don't have a city of 20 million in the U.S.
Oh,
but, you know, but
I remember being in Cairo and the traffic was really out of a horror movie. Just
and
nobody obeying.
Finally got to sleep after basically being awake for 39 hours. That really wore me down. You know, just
and which would make you susceptible to
very
getting
susceptible.
Yeah. D. Starin asks, are the locals immune to the water issues there?
Yep. My wife didn't have any problem. And my girls didn't really have any problem either.
Interesting.
You know, they had a little dysentery, but other than that, it's fine. But I was out of commission for a good 5 days, laying in bed.
Stephen Me says you need to do a stopover in my bar here in Dublin the next time.
Dublin, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Dublin.
One time I went there, went to what was the name of I think it was Howth. I went to Dublin Temple Bar, Henry Street. Really
good
great.
times.
Dublin's beautiful. Went to Trinity College and O'Connell Street. A bunch of fun time in Dublin. Yep.
Stephen, if my wife and I decide to do a Dublin trip during our retirement, I will definitely hit you up and we'll have a beer. Stephen also wrote earlier, I'm pretty sure they didn't shoot any of Full Metal Jacket in the Philippines. Kubrick filmed it in London in the docklands that was being demolished at the time. That is absolutely correct. Stephen, I remember reading that.
That part with the little motorcycle and the Asian people was filmed in Philippines.
Okay, yeah.
That one guy with the karate moves.
Yeah,
and Joker's like, he's really had some moves, him and Rafterman. That was the Philippines.
Great scene.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Tooch, anything you want to promote before we get out of here?
Yep, Friday we should be back for weekend sports betting tips.
How you been doing lately?
I've been killing it, man. I'm red hot. Had a huge NFL day last Sunday, just me personally, and then college basketball started up, and I'm doing pretty good in college basketball. And then
you always do.
Sean always has some great NBA prop plays that he's been killing.
Excellent.
I've been riding his coattails on that. Anthony has been red hot with college football, so I've got built up a nice bankroll.
Very, very nice. That is Friday at 6 p.m. Central, weekend sports betting tips.
Yep.
And then immediately afterwards at 7 p.m. Central, it's the Willis Towers. And they're going to have a very special guest, Tooch.
Nice.
None other than former Chicago Bears cornerback Jerry Azuma is joining the Twins. Yeah,
Excellent.
So he'll be with them for the first 30 minutes. And then tomorrow, it's Mac and Reed. I'm pretty sure they're doing a show tomorrow. But also, Mike North and your great buddy Joe Mandel are going to eulogize former Chicago Bulls forward Bob Love at 7:30 Central tomorrow. I am definitely tuning in for that one because I was a big Bob Love fan growing up and watching the Bulls with Chet Walker.
I delivered a mattress to him.
Really?
When I was younger, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a custom. He needed like a California king because he was so tall.
Oh yeah, he was 6'9", I think.
I worked at Verlo Mattress Factory when I was in high school, college, junior college.
Very cool.
Verlo mattresses, yeah.
And I'm sure they're going to cover this tomorrow, but Bob Love had a severe stuttering problem that his first wife left him. Because of it. She just couldn't stand it. I mean, it was that bad. And I remember as a kid listening to him being interviewed, and I was thinking, holy cow, this whole interview, this 10-minute interview is just going to cover one question because his response was so labored. I felt so bad for him. And when his wife left him, I actually know this because Joe sent me a video of it today. When his wife left him, he was driving home or somewhere, and he saw a sign or a commercial or something for a speech therapy thing. And he went there and he started working on his speech. And for the last 20, 30 years of his life, he spoke perfectly. And that's a great triumph for him. Yeah, great story. And he was a hell of a basketball player. Yeah. So that's tomorrow, Thursday. So we got lots of shows this week. And of course, on Sunday, Barfly Tailgate Show will get you ready for the Bears game. Tooch is a big part of that show. And also Fantasy Football Goon. Are you going to be on the Fantasy Football Goon show this week?
I think so. I mean, it's been nice to be able to like rotate with Joe and Adam Schaum and Steven Zimmerman. Like one of us can take a little break.
How are you doing with your teams? Hopefully not as bad as I am.
I have had some. I mean, I've got the all injury team. I'm still like around 500 with both teams on the outside, maybe on the inside. I don't know yet. It's a little early. Maybe if I make a light run, I could sneak into the playoffs. But,
yeah,
I mean, Adam Schaum and Aaron Current both have really good teams. So
yeah, as they usually do, right? I'm in 3 leagues this year, and I'm averaging about 3 wins.
It's been tough. I mean, I saw a graphic today with like the players that are winning, leagues for team are just like guys you'd never think before the preseason.
Yeah.
Aside from like Jamar Chase.
Right.
But he was injured too. So
yes, it's been one of those seasons. Absolutely.
Yep.
But we'll listen to Fantasy Football Goon to see if we can salvage our season. Maybe win a few more games before the season's over. That's all happening here on the Barroom Network. The man next to me, his name is Johnny Santucci.
That was fun tonight.
Yeah, it was a great show. I'm going to put up your email. Yeah, there it is. At John Santucci VIP. John Santucci VIP, and you can find me at Barroom Network on X. Are you going to stay on X? There seems to be a lot of people migrating to other things because of the political stuff that's going on. You going to stay on X?
Probably. I mean,
Me too.
I like it. I don't mind the stuff. I have all my sports accounts that I follow there. So
yeah,
as far as like sports betting and stuff.
Right. I'm definitely going to keep the Barroom Network account on X and might explore some other things from my own personal account. But we will always figure out a way to communicate with Bears fans and hope that you follow us and follow Johnny Santucci. He's on more shows than I am. And he's a big part of the Barroom Network's success. And I appreciate you, John, very much.
Yep.
And I appreciate Dan. And I know Dan's going through a hard time because his future with the show is in jeopardy.
My wife is home on Wednesday nights now, so it's like not too bad. Yep.
Yeah. Well, the 3 of us will sit down and figure out a thing where we can make this happen. I'm
if we have to move days, that's all right.
Yeah, we have to news, and I think he can do a show from his house. He's just he worries a little bit about setting up stuff up.
There's got to be a barfly that has an extra laptop laying around. We could do.
Oh yeah, and actually, I think he bought a laptop because he put a home security system in.
Costco, you can get them pretty cheap. They're fast,
Or even your phone works fine with StreamYard. So if you have the right kind of phone, I should say.
Yep.
But aside from that, we will see you all next week. Same time, same station. Tooch, I love you. And,
love you too, brother.
We'll talk to you soon.
That was fun.
Ruski.